You tell me. We don't know. We don't know the exact number. Because if people get here and we don't track them, we don't know the exact number. But there's Mr. Liberal telling you the truth like always. That's what Mr. Liberal does. Mr. Liberal is a truth teller. You heard you look, I heard who says my pants aren't off? Katie, who says they're not off? Sorry, it's not my fault that the screen doesn't go lower. You don't know. There's no evidence that my pants are on. But don't let Doug do that to you. Don't let Doug make promises about taking off his shirt and then try and turn it on me. Kamala's the border czar. That's all you need to know. There's no such thing as a border czar. That's not a position that exists. It's just like a thing that people have said. Just a thing people called her because it was her job to help with messaging, which she did a great job, by the way. She did a good job getting a lot of pressure on Republicans to do a bipartisan bill in the Senate, and that got done. She did a good job. She did literally everything that she could. I don't want to hear from Republicans about the border. This will be here shortly, I assume. You prefer the full beard over the mustache? Me too. What's up, Roger?
Oh, nothing. I just wanted to I'm voting for Trump. I just wanted to make a point about.
Sorry, I missed it. Sorry, I missed the first part of what you said. Sorry, can
Oh
you
no,
start over?
Sure. So my name's Roger. I'm 47, live in California, and I'll be voting for Trump.
And are you a lion or a man?
A lion or a man?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean my profile pic?
Yeah, I'm just kidding with you.
Oh yeah, that's just my profile pic. I mean,
Okay.
if you look at my page, you'll see me, I guess. Anyways, so I just wanted to say that, I'm one of the reasons why I'm voting for Trump is because I'm really happy that he was able to get 3 Supreme Court justices to overturn Roe v. Wade. I don't think, and the Supreme Court agrees with me.
Why do you care about Roe v. Wade?
Well, I mean, if you care about children and people not having the chance to live.
What about women having the chance to live?
Well, they do. Yeah, of course.
Well, they do.
I mean, I'm actually pro-choice, but I believe that abortion should be severely restricted, and it should be left to the states for them to decide.
How's that pro-choice?
Well, because I feel that women should have a right to a certain point to have an abortion, but after a certain point,
What point?
they shouldn't. But it should be up to each state to determine that.
What
I don't
point
think
do
there's
you
a.
think?
Well, I agree with the Idaho law that they say that at the point that either 6 weeks or that they detect cardiac activity in the fetus. So I'm agreeing with that. But I'm also agreement with. I'm also agreement with.
So all the women being
other
medvaxed, all the women being medvaxed out of Idaho to save their lives because they can't get life-saving care in Idaho. You're a big fan of that. I thought you wanted to protect women's lives.
I do, but
well, then what about all the people that have to leave Idaho just to stay alive?
But that's their decision. They can leave Idaho. I'm not saying they can't leave Idaho.
Or they could die, right?
So they wait a minute. So let's say. So I'm not understanding what you're saying. A woman's pregnant and needs to get an abortion within 6 weeks of her finding out she's pregnant. You're saying that in Idaho they can't get an abortion?
Sometimes after that
No,
point,
they
right?
cannot.
But it's
Yeah, they
life-saving
cannot
care.
in Idaho.
So
and they can't even, and they're having trouble even when they're dying. There was a Supreme Court case about this, which just got kicked back to the lower courts. The Supreme Court still didn't solve it. The exceptions are purposely vague. They are not helping people in emergency rooms in Idaho. They've lost all of their OBGYNs. It's what am I trying to say? A maternal care desert or whatever. What are they called?
Yeah, that was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Yeah, so they have
Okay,
exceptions.
yeah.
So that exception that you mentioned.
No,
about
they
the
do not
mother's
have
health-
exceptions. Listen, exceptions
that's
are,
what the
there's
law
no
says.
point. No, you don't understand. You don't understand what's going on, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The exceptions are purposely vague. Now, if I go, and believe me, this is based on, if you say to anyone, right, let's take the E. Jean Carroll case. E. Jean Carroll was, sexually abused by Donald Trump, right?
What does
No
that have
one
to do with the
believes
Idaho
her.
abortion law?
It has everything to do. It has to do with the exceptions for grape. That's what I'm talking about. You're saying that there's some easy exception and you walk into the hospital and you say, "Oh, hi, I'm here. I'm graped." Nobody
report it.
believes women. No,
You got to report
yeah,
it
and
to
who
the
decides?
police.
Who decides if someone's been raped? If it's your
Who
word, if it's
decides who
my
reported
word,
it?
if it's my word against a man's, and there's no witnesses. Who decides if I was raped or if I was not? That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. The
You ever heard of
exceptions are,
You
listen
ever
to
heard of a
me,
grape
stop
kit?
talking. Hey, yeah, I've also heard of the millions and millions of untested rape kits that are sitting in evidence lockers. You have no idea what's going on in this country. You're delusional. But this
But we're
argument
talking
has,
about Idaho,
listen,
though.
yes, I used to live in Idaho. I went to university in Idaho. I lived there for, please don't talk to me about Idaho as if you know something about it that I am not aware of. I promise you I'm aware of what's going on in Idaho. And you are acting like you can, in Idaho, just say, oh, hi, I've been raped. You can't do that now. Women aren't believed now. What happens
not.
is when people try to use the exceptions, let's say we had this happen to Kate Cox in Texas. She was hemorrhaging blood. I can look up the court documents. They will make you cry when you hear this woman is literally bleeding out in real time, and lawyers are describing what is happening to her body and how she's slowly losing her life and begging to allow her to get an abortion. And did they ever? No. Right? It went to two different, one court, a federal court, the judge said yeah, then the Texas Supreme Court overruled them. She had to leave the state hemorrhaging and leaking random fluids to get
That doesn't
care.
make any sense what you're saying.
Yeah,
How could
it's at her
how
name
could
is
she be
Kate
fighting
Cox.
the
You
case?
can, hey, listen to me,
How could
Roger.
she be fighting this
It does
case
not make
and the
sense
kid-
because you simply are uninformed. You're
So
an
the baby was born
uninformed
there.
man talking about taking women's bodily autonomy away.
So the baby was born.
You
then,
are
that's what you're
talking
saying?
about taking women's bodily autonomy away. Just like Roger, you
was
get
the
to
baby
make
born?
decisions for your body. I want the right to make decisions for my body. Do you
Okay, so in the
understand that?
Cox
And if
case,
you're a
was the baby
Republican,
born? Was the
if
baby
you're a
born in
Republican,
Cox?
yes, she had to leave the state. She was never granted care. The baby was not born. It was not going to live. It was not a viable pregnancy.
Okay, so what you're saying is then
It
she
was
went to
not a
another state
viable
and had an
pregnancy.
abortion?
It was killing her. And
Can
they
I
would
just-
not
can I
help
just
her.
read you- Roger, can I just read you what she said? This is
Yeah,
this
go
is
ahead.
from Kate Cox. I wanted to be here, close to home. I mean, it's the hardest thing I've been through. I wanted to come home, cry on my pillow, hold my babies, be near my doctors. That's really what I thought about the most going into this. There's nobody that loves and wants a baby girl more than I do, but there's no outcomes at the end of this where I take home a healthy baby girl. I never thought I would ever want or need an abortion, but this is a medical decision and it's what's needed for my health. And she had to flee the state that she lived in order to get that help. This is somebody who wanted a baby. This is somebody who was trying to get pregnant, but needed to terminate the pregnancy and couldn't do it because the state's laws are specifically vague. And the real question is, why do you think the government should be involved in that decision?
Well, I mean, it sounds like you have an issue with the specificity of the law, but what does that have to do with
No,
abortion?
I asked you
though?
why. The question I asked is, why do you think the government should be involved in this decision?
Because the government has an interest in protecting life.
What life? This was
life
a
of a human
child that
being.
was not going to live.
Was not a you're not listening, Roger. You're
viable
just
human
waiting to
was the
respond
mother.
with unintelligent answers. The baby could not exist on the planet. They knew that
Right.
for certain, and it was killing her. The pregnancy was killing her, and
Okay.
could not get the care she needed.
So
So stop talking about let the baby live. The baby couldn't live.
No, he's asking me why the government. I'm responding to his question. His question was, why should the government be interested in what a
No, I
woman?
said, why should
and
they
a
be
No,
abortion-
that's
involved
not
in
what
the
that wasn't his
decision?
question. You're not listening.
And I
Why
said,
should
and I
they
said
be
the reason.
involved in the decision?
There you go. I'm asking that because the state has an interest in protecting life.
But that didn't protect life, did it?
Well, I mean, so they have
Whose
a
life was being protected?
I'm
Whose life was
pro-choice
being
to a certain
protected?
extent.
I'm not asking your personal
Answer
opinion.
the
Let's stay on
question.
this. Whose life was being protected there?
Whose life being protected? So the kid was born with the genetic defect, if I'm
No,
correct,
no.
right? In the Cox case?
No.
The child was not. Listen one more
Really?
time, because
I'm
Felicia
actually
said this.
reading- Let me read this from CNN.
You're not
Read that from
reading
CNN.
because
Here's what
you have no idea what's going on.
It says
Although
here,
Cox had
was 20
received
weeks
a
pregnant
fatal
when she sued.
fetal diagnosis and continuing
Her
the
fetus-
pregnancy, be quiet.
There you go.
Be quiet.
Roger, why don't
agree
you
with
learn
me.
something instead of speaking? You literally are talking about a topic you are uneducated on. Let someone explain something to you.
Although
This
Cox
case is
had received
famous.
no, be quiet. Although Cox had received a fatal fetal diagnosis and continuing the pregnancy would pose risks to her health and future fertility, this Texas Supreme Court ruled in December that it would not allow her to get an abortion in the state.
Okay.
What does fatal mean?
Yeah.
No, I know what fatal means.
So what is
So
a
what does
fetal
it mean? Because we're not
diagnosis?
sure if you know. Because
Really?
you keep
Fatal?
saying it was born
Yeah.
with genetic defects. It was not. The
Yeah.
baby was not born with genetic defects.
No, he wasn't born. I never. You guys keep
Yeah,
saying
no,
that.
you just said that. You just said the
was
baby was
asking you.
born with genetic defects.
didn't.
Please stop rewriting history. Some of us have short-term memory that is still intact, sir. Cox's
Okay.
pregnancy was diagnosed with trisomy 18, a condition causing multiple structural abnormalities and has no chance of survival. Since Cox has already undergone 2 C-sections and has underlying health conditions, continuing the pregnancy puts her at high risk for multiple serious medical complications and makes it less likely she would be able to have more children in the future. That's what the issue was. The longer this unnecessary pregnancy went on, the pregnancy was not viable. It was damaging her uterus and her chances of ever being pregnant again. And we have men in courts talking about, I don't know, should we allow this person bleeding out to get the medical care she needs? Roger, if you were honest with yourself, you could admit that you would never want the government in the doctor's office with you, not the state government, not the federal government. And I want the same thing. I want you to trust me as a human being, and a very intelligent, sentient human being, to make decisions about my body and what is best for my body, just like you are allowed to every day.
Okay, so you're in agreement. So you have a problem with euthanasia laws then?
I support bodily autonomy. Every
Okay, so-
person is in charge. No, listen to me, because you don't understand what bodily autonomy is. It's the right to make decisions about your body without coercion and without violence, right? So
you're okay
every
with
person
euthanasia
on
then?
this earth has bodily. Oh, of course. Nobody
Okay.
should be living if they don't want to live. Everybody should have the rights to make decisions about their body. Roger, you don't get to make decisions about Jay's body or my body, Roger, but you can make decisions about your body. Do you see how that
So you're
goes?
are you allowed to take drugs in this country, like meth and cocaine? Isn't that bodily autonomy?
Roger,
Can you ingest?
what?
can
No,
legally
you don't.
ingest
Let me
drugs?
explain it again, Roger. Yes, I make decisions for my body, including ingesting something. What bodily autonomy means is I should not be forced to take drugs. Do you see the difference? You're confused, right? Without coercion or violence, I get to make decisions about what happens to my body. That's bodily autonomy. You
Sure,
are
sure.
enjoying it every day. There has never been legislation in this country that violates your bodily autonomy, Roger. And
Right,
I grant the
but-
fetus bodily autonomy too, right? We all have
Exactly.
bodily autonomy. And I'm asking you to grant me my bodily autonomy and stay out of my life.
And who protects the baby
From what?
from being killed after they can
Oh,
live
no.
from the mother?
Can
they
I
have
ask you a
viability.
Yeah, here's the problem that we have here. And Felice was correct when she said you don't understand what bodily autonomy is. So we should go back to that. What's your understanding of what bodily
I don't-
autonomy is? What's your understanding of that?
Well, what you're saying, bodily autonomy is being able to do whatever you want with your body. That's
No, that's
basically
not
what it
true,
means.
because you can do things
Okay.
with your body
So
that are
what-
No,
illegal.
it's not. You
What-
don't
what is-
get
so what
it.
is bodily-
It's your right to not have your
Roger,
body.
why
like,
don't you listen when I speak? That's the real question we should ask. This is why you are trying to make laws for women's bodies. You don't even respect women enough to listen when they explain what words mean to you.
Yeah, so autonomy means, Roger, let's just say that you and I are on the freeway together and we get in a car crash, okay? And it was my fault. I rear-ended you, and now you have a lacerated kidney and a punctured lung, okay? Now, is there any scenario where I caused this to happen, right? Where's Roger getting? Sorry, Roger, I got to remove you. I don't know.
I did
How
not.
did that happen?
Don't report people.
How did Roger get? Yeah, sorry,
I don't
guys.
know.
Let's not report, please. And
Your
look,
microphone, I think,
that,
your microphone's like loose or something. It was scratchy for a second. Talk again.
How about now?
No, it's okay. It's good now.
It's my. I got it. I guess I'm gonna have to get a new microphone. I don't know.
Or the connector. It kind of It just seems like it's
switched
coming
the
in
connector.
connected for. Oh, okay.
I switched it out this morning. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. He said the K word. Yeah. Oh, that's what he said. Oh, okay.
What did he say? Oh, was talking about drugs too.
I see Miss Michelle Shell and Liam in the comments. Or if you guys are opposition, feel free to stay in the box. If you're not, can you hop out of the box? But do come back on Friday, where every Friday for the last hour to hour and a half, we take calls from those people on our side of the aisle, and we love that. It's one of our favorite times of the week. So please come back on Friday if you're not opposition. Good morning, Felice. I wanted to make sure you weren't comfortable when you came in. I wanted to make sure that as soon as you got here, somebody was saying
I
they
didn't
needed
even want
access
to turn
to your
on my
body.
camera when he was like, "Oh, I'm pro-choice. I just agree with Idaho. Like Idaho is a pro-choice state. Do you know what I mean? Like Idaho is basically what's that place in The Handmaid's Tale? What's it called?
I haven't actually seen it.
Oh, you can't really get through it. It's that bad.
What's up, Liam?
Hey, you guys. Hey, you know, I heard you talking about Idaho. I'm actually a resident of there now. That is the only state now that they actually also have outlawed what do you call it? The eating of human flesh. So
Cannibalism?
cannibalism, yeah, that's the only.
What the hell does that have to do with anything we're talking about?
I just said somebody was talking about Idaho. Whatever. Come on, man.
I don't know. I was confused by that. That was weird. That was kind of weird for you to come up and say that.
Anyway, you guys were just talking about Idaho, but anyway, yes, I'm opposition. I'm voting for Trump. One thing I jumped online. I won't take up much of your time. I'll get out of here. I know you have more guests. I saw the rally that Megan Thee Stallion was shaking her ass at. And,
we're about to disparage when we're about to go on a misogyny rant.
No, I'm not.
She's amazing. Meg Thee Stallion's amazing.
She's a superstar.
Unbelievably talented.
Yeah, the thing is, though, they looked at the size of that rally, and you realize that it was a free Megan Thee Stallion concert. It was free to attend. And as soon as Kamala had a 30-minute speech, she started speaking.
Is this what Trump said this morning?
Is
this Trump's crowd size argument? Is this the Trump morning crowd size? My crowds were bigger than her crowds. I had 100,000 people in New Jersey one time. Remember? Yeah, we don't care. We're not weird. We're not counting people and being like, my crowd's bigger than Trump's crowd. We don't care.
Okay, now that you're out of your feelings, I'm talking about facts here of what happened. So
go ahead.
Hi, Shuck It. Sorry, Shuck It. Trebek's in the comments.
So I just, dude, honestly, when you come into a rally and you're hearing, an anthem or something.
You're just mad Kid Rock wasn't there.
That pumps people. No, I don't care about any of that stuff. Okay?
Because Kid Rock sings about statutory grape, So and you guys do love that, we know. So Meg Thee Stallion, you're mad about her shaking her ass. At least she's not singing about raping kids and how it's great. Because that's what Kid Rock does. I will take Meg Thee Stallion any day over some guy glorifying statutory grape in songs.
You know the song Yada 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 Yada, the one that she does, right?
Yeah.
You want me to pull up the words and read you the words?
Yeah, but then when you're done with that, can you read up? Can you pull up the court transcripts of how Donald Trump raped somebody? Wait, but hold on. So you have a problem with lyrics, but the guy you're voting for actually assaults women, and that's fine. That's no big deal. It's no big deal when he's talking about Megyn Kelly, and because she asks him a tough question, he says she's on her period so much that she's bleeding out of her eyes. That's fine, right? That's fine. How about Dana White speaking at the RNC convention about a year after being caught on video slapping his wife across the face? Is that a problem? How about Matt Gaetz speaking despite the fact that his buddies are all in jail right now for paying underage girls for sex? I'm just wondering, I'm asking you one by one. Do any of those bother you?
All of it bothers me.
Okay, but you're still going to vote for him. But lyrics from a song you want us to be upset about.
No. Okay. So I don't think if people want to go pay or they want to go to that concert.
Yeah.
Okay. Megan Thee Stallion concert, and they want to get their freak loose because they've worked hard all week long. Amen. Let's go do it. Okay. When you're opening up the possible new president of the United States.
Yeah.
With some woman singing those words to the audience, you think that looks presidential?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Most of America has heard that song, and it's very popular, meaning that most of America likes this. And I don't know, you're probably there's probably a good chance that you're Mormon, being from Idaho, or some sort of Christian. And I understand that these types of morals have been pushed on you, and you think that that's how the rest of the world should feel. But the rest of us aren't so weird about sex. We can hear people talk about sex, and then we can go about our lives and just live normally. Music is art. Music and art in movies and in music, it talks about they talk about subjects that we don't necessarily talk about openly in public. That's what makes it art. If you don't like it, don't listen to it.
Well, thank you for guessing at what my beliefs are. Being Mormon, that's super cool.
Are you?
No, I'm not Mormon.
Okay, are you Christian?
I am a Christian, yes.
Okay, then I got it right. I said you're probably Mormon or Christian because you're from Idaho.
Mormons are Christians.
No, they're not. Whoa,
they
what?
Are. They are.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. Why not? Because
it clearly states in the false readings of the Bible, as you would call it, the Sky Daddy book, it clearly states that if anything is added or taken away from this,
From what?
From God's word.
What's God's word?
The text of the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament.
No, it's not the text of the Bible. It's the things that he said, right?
What's that?
No, God's word is the things that he said. The Bible didn't exist, right? The Bible was compiled by just regular ass people who voted on what books to include.
That were enlightened through God, yes.
Well, tell me about this enlightenment from the Council of Nicaea when they decided what books to put in. There was a lot of contention at the Council of Nicaea when they were deciding which books to include, and there was a particular group of people that were causing problems because they wanted certain books included and they couldn't come to a consensus. So they said, all right, we're going to take a recess. We'll reconvene at a later date. Well, when they reconvened, all the people causing problems were dead. Would you call that enlightened? That doesn't sound very enlightened to me.
You can debate God's word.
Well, I'm not talking about God's word. I'm talking about the Council of Nicaea right now. Do you know about the Council of Nicaea?
Is you and I.
Are you aware of the Council of Nicaea?
Are you aware
of the Council of Nicaea?
You don't.
Hey, Liam, I believe that there is right and wrong, and none of that comes from a Sky Daddy. You're right. I do agree with that. But are you aware of the Council of Nicaea and how they formed the Bible? How they decided on what was in the Bible?
I'm not.
No, you don't know, right?
I'm not concerned or interested, and you're deflecting from
This
God's
isn't deflecting.
truth,
this is the history of the Bible, my guy. This is the history of the Bible.
From God's truth?
Brother, with all due respect, the Bible is full of much worse stories than anybody had there. How about in the Bible when Lot his wife is turned into salt, right? So he goes out into the wilderness, and his two daughters, they want to have kids, but obviously it's just their dad, so they can't have kids. So they get him drunk so that they can take advantage of him and get pregnant. How's that for a story? Should we share that with children?
That's part of the fall of man and sin.
No, wait, part of the fall of man. No, that's how they kept God's word alive. God said this is okay. God said this is fine.
God did not say that was fine.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Did he condone it?
You know what? Back to
No. Let's stay here. If we're going to talk about lyrics, we got to talk about the lyrics in the Bible too, right?
Yes, you're right. This is all relative. Cool. I agree. So we can say that a woman without discretion, like Megan Thee Stallion, is like a what? A pig with a gold ring in its nose?
Why do you think Megan Thee Stallion doesn't have direction? Because she doesn't believe what you believe?
Said discretion.
Discretion? Oh, she has discretion? You don't think she...
She'd never go around you. That's discretion.
In front of the whole world watching.
That's what discretion is. She would never be caught dead around you, and that is part of discretion. So yes, she does have some.
I can't believe you guys have an audience that tunes in for this.
I can't. Yeah. I'm not surprised at all that you don't have an audience, because you are terrible. Not only are you a bad debater, you also don't know much about your religion, and you're up here just trying to demonize a woman for creating art. Like, sorry, dude. Sorry, we don't about your bullshit.
Art, shaking your ass and talking about explicit things that you should be doing in the bedroom under marriage is
under marriage.
To you, dude. Under marriage.
Nobody gives a shit, man.
You're
nobody
sick
gives a
in
shit.
The head, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I sure am.
You're warped and sick.
I know.
May I say something?
I know.
Holy
Liam,
shit,
women,
Repent
just like you,
dude.
Liam, women can do what they want with their bodies. I know this is a new concept for you, but we can do what we want with our bodies, Liam, without shame. Okay? And your reaction or your interpretation of what women are doing,
you have a child?
Right? Do I have a child? No, I don't have a child.
Oh, okay. So
please be respectful and stop interrupting women. Please be respectful and stop interrupting women.
Oh, he's gonna do the childless cat lady thing. Can we all?
Good.
This is why Trump's gonna lose. What Liam is about to do, what Liam is about to do right now is why Trump's going to lose. Just.
You know what?
No, truly, Liam, you know what I was, though? I was a teacher for years. I do absolutely love children. I care about children, right? And it is very weird how so many people in the Republican Party claim to care about children and for some reason are always caught doing inappropriate things with them.
Oh, God. Like talking that nonsense that Megan Thee Stallion was talking in front of kids at the rally? Is that the kind of nonsense you're talking about?
No, we're talking about
just want to
religious
say, I don't
leaders,
care. Yeah, I believe in sexual
children.
freedom. I don't think that sex is shameful. I don't think it needs to only occur within the bounds of marriage. I think women are free to do with their bodies as they want.
That was so poetically put for a cat woman, okay?
Hey, Liam,
his name is Mr. Mittens, and he's black, and he's
Liam,
like 4 pounds.
I saw a video of you doing shitty push-ups, by the way, just barely. You're a real man's man. You're up here now degrading women.
What does he look like?
Not great, but he got outshone by good trouble. You're up here degrading women. What kind of Christian are you? You've been cursing. You're degrading women. Yeah. What did Jesus do when he was? What did Jesus? You just degraded Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah, Megan Thee Stallion, and then Felice right there when you said she was a cat woman.
She said she was a cat woman.
No, she said that's what you were going to say. No, she said that's. She said that's what you were gonna. Liam, if you shut up long enough to hear the words other people are saying, this won't be so difficult. Liam, you're running out of time, brother, because you're incapable of a conversation.
Okay? You're full of shit, dude. You're full of bullshit. Okay?
There we go. That's mighty. That's mighty Christian of you, there,
Jesus
Liam.
would be proud, Liam.
Mighty Christian, Liam.
Yeah, you should have an enema because you're full of shit. Okay.
You should have an enema. Listen, this is what's really weird.
Why are
I
you
just want to say this,
why are you
Liam. You're
thinking about
obsessed
my
with Meg the
asshole?
Stallion. That's what I'm saying. You're obsessed with Meg the Stallion, and you're talking about enemas. Like it's very
I'm not
strange. You know what I
actually.
mean? You keep
Your
sexualizing Meg the
president
Stallion. Now you're
choices
talking
is.
about telling people to get enemas. I'm just saying there's something going on here. There's a lot of projection happening.
I'm gonna
Liam, you
guess.
seem preoccupied, in fact, with Meg the Stallion.
Yeah,
Man, this is a great
Are you
conversation.
angry that you're attracted to her? Like it
That would be
seems like you're
frustrating.
upset. Yeah, that you're attracted to her.
Yeah,
It's okay. We all
I'm
are.
upset that I'm attracted and married to the woman of my dreams, and she gave me the best thing I could ever have imagined in a 5-year-old son at this point. Okay, and I'm really upset with what I have. I'm just every night I'm
that's
thinking
that's
about
not a
Megan-
response.
Megan
That's
Thee
not even remotely.
Stallion, okay?
Listen, nobody asked you for your fucking
I get
journal
to
entry.
cuddle
Okay,
up with my wife, the woman of my dreams.
I'm gonna mute you because I don't give a shit about you or your wife.
No,
Like we didn't ask about that. We're not looking for a family history here, Liam. Would you like to stay
You
on
can still be
subject?
attracted to a woman with your eyeballs. That doesn't mean you're cheating. It doesn't mean something's wrong, Liam. Meg the Stallion is an attractive woman. She's talented.
Not to
She's
me, she's
intelligent.
not.
You're attracted to her.
You watched her.
Yeah.
Why-
and
why are you
clearly
watching-
have
why are you
you're
watching her, Liam?
preoccupied.
I didn't even watch it. I didn't watch it.
Listen
Why'd
to
you
the
watch
shit
it?
coming out of your
Was there
guys'
nothing?
mouth,
Was there nothing
bro.
else to watch last night? The Olympics are on. Watch the Olympics.
I literally
turn the-
was on-
turn the
Can't the
station.
Christians can't, Jay,
I was-
after the opening
Change-
ceremonies?
Change the
I'm
channel.
now I'm having people come after my page because of you guys. You guys have a great show here, man.
Yeah, well, it might be your dog
Great
shit beliefs.
show,
It might
guys.
be because of the dog shit that you've said. We can't control if you say stupid things. We can't control if people don't like it or not. You want me to read you the death threats I get from your side of the aisle,
Such a
Liam?
fucking
Should we
waste of
read?
time.
There we go.
Kick
There's the
me
cursing.
now.
Very
Now
Christian
kick
of
me.
you.
Next will be
No, I
kick me.
no, I don't. I'm not participating in your kinks. You've got to let yourself go. I'm not going to abuse you on camera for you. There you go. Following a lot of
know
young
about
girls,
that.
I've
That
been
was
told.
strange.
Let's Jen, can you get me some screenshots of Liam's following list? Let's talk about this happily married man, the love of his life, following young girls on TikTok. Should we talk
probably
about
follows
that,
Meg.
Liam? Why don't you come back up, Liam, and tell us about your following list? Want to
I
do
bet
that?
he follows Meg the Stallion. He's obsessed with her. Listen, she's amazing. I can't stop watching her either. It's a thing. Like, you don't have to resent it. Just say, like, she's fabulous.
And that's-
Everything about her is great.
You're right, though. Like that frustration, that anger comes from people who can't control their own impulses and they feel guilty about it, right? That's like the cycle of shame that you get in high demand religions. You view something or think something or have a sexual thought and you're conditioned to believe, oh, I can't have that thought. That was a sin. And it creates a cycle where you see it, you love it, then you're like, oh no, I love it. That makes me mad. So now I have to speak out about it. When you could have just changed the channel. If it's really a problem for you, change the channel.
Not to the Olympics though, because did you hear about the Olympics opening ceremonies? They mocked the Last Supper or something. So the Christians can't watch the Olympics anymore. Rebecca, I have a message and I have to do announcements for. Rebecca says, which I love. F the patriarchy. MAGA men
right.
have big feelings this morning and they should go get some therapy. Love you both. Thank you, Rebecca. That's amazing. Guys, and if you would like to send us a message, if you have a question, comment, concern, whatever the case may be, this is my Venmo and Jay's Cash App. Just send it to either. Periodically throughout the show, we will read the messages. And when we're debating someone, if you have a question for them, I'll probably send it to me because I talk less. So then I'll try my best while they're there to make sure I'm checking so I can ask. Also, keep tapping the screen. Tap, tap, tap. Let's make sure we get to the For You page. This is super important. We are trying to get more YouTube followers. So if you would please absolutely follow us on YouTube. It's RTP-Talks. It would be much appreciated. Watch our content, interact with our videos. We also stream this show on YouTube as well. It would be much appreciated. Again, it's RTP-Talks. And what is the other thing? Oh yeah, and if you would like to join our Discord's where we put all of our articles and my teaching materials and clips that we use in our outline. And obviously, it's a community where you can hang out and make fun of Jay. Mostly is what goes on.
That's mostly what we do. Yeah.
In one form or another, just trash Jay. Or when I'm up at like 3 a.m, I just talk to whoever's awake. So yeah, if you would like a message Jay or Jen, or can they or
Yeah,
no,
just me.
talk
Yeah,
to
me or
in the
Jen
chat.
for Discord. Yeah.
Exactly, because I don't check my messages because, like Jay said, I get some really mean ones. Okay, I think that about covers it.
Yeah, we got it. Hey, I tried to bring you up, Lori, and I don't know what happened, Lori. You can jump back in the box. I see just Laren or Laron, Kanerjay, Heyo Cole. Sorry on all those. If you guys are opposition, feel free to stay in the box, but would you just write I'm opposition? If you're not, would you kindly hop out of the box? We're just taking opposition today, but please come back on Friday when we take friendlies. My phone is loading or charging for the Cash App, so I don't have access to that yet. So I apologize if you've sent something. I think that covered everything I was supposed to cover. Yeah, there we go. This is just Laron. How do you say that?
It's LeBron. It's
LeBron?
LeBron. Yeah, I'm not gonna be up long. I just wanted to point something out to y'all. He was up here talking about Megan Thee Stallion and her lyrics and everything. If y'all go to his page, there's a video on his page with a trailer in it, with a mobile home in it. Go listen to the lyrics on that video real quick.
We'll check that out. Thanks, LeBron.
Well, all right, I'm gonna drop and let somebody that should be up come up. I just wanted
Appreciate
to point
it.
that out to
Meet
y'all.
ya.
Thanks, guys.
Somebody screen record that and send it to me too, because I'm gonna forget that if you get a
Scared
chance.
to know.
This is Kanerjay. Welcome.
What's up? How you doing, dude? How you
Is
doing?
your name Jay?
Yes,
That's my name. That's my name too.
I know.
Oh, okay.
How you doing, Jay?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I listen to you guys. I try to listen to you guys a couple times a week because I like to hear, what, all sides of things. So I enjoy
Know thy
listening
enemy.
to you guys.
Sun Tzu, The Art of War.
Exactly.
So what's up?
Hey, so I would just like to talk about why I feel like people support Donald Trump. And I think people forget, because of what happened with COVID, it obviously stopped all the progress he was making for the economy and jobs and trade agreements and all the good stuff that I think some of the stuff you would agree he was doing a good job on. It got railroaded, and it's probably a big reason why he didn't win re-election. And
I probably would not agree with that. I
Okay.
think his economic
I'm glad to hear
decisions-
you say he didn't win re-election. That's actually that's a relief. That tells me something about your level of sanity. So we're
I think I'm a pretty logical person. I grew up in Ohio, and they say the Midwest for some reason. I don't know why Ohio is considered the Midwest, but that's a whole nother topic.
I don't. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know about that argument.
Yeah, I would say some of his economic policies were okay. I would say specifically the tariffs. There wasn't really any benefit that we're seeing from that. In fact, we wound up having to pay billions of dollars to farmers because of the trade war. It's one of the things Mitt Romney predicted, that he would put us in a trade war that would require us to bail out American businesses, which we regularly had to do.
Yeah, and I just think you have to say whether it was a coincidence or not. There weren't a lot of wars going on right now. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on where we're on the brink of madness in the Middle East, and
I'm confused.
that's
Can I ask you about that? I'm confused by that because during Trump's entire presidency, Russia was in Ukraine. They had annexed Crimea. They were there for decades now. There has been violence in Israel and Palestine for decades. Those are ongoing, right? Those have been going on. And yes, they escalated, but it's just a weird. It's like saying 9/11 was Bush's fault.
Yeah. Well, you can't control countries, but
Right.
you can keep things under control and manage it different ways. And I feel like over the last 3.5 years, in my opinion, it's not been managed well, and that's not their fault 100%, but I think it played into it a little bit.
What would you have
And,
done differently?
I would have kept doing what Trump was doing. I mean, he had the Abraham peace accords that had everyone. I just feel like
those countries were already peaceful with each other. Basically, all that agreement did is say, hey, we're all going to side with Israel and we're going to have trade together. And then Trump's son-in-law and Trump got paid over $2 billion to Jared Kushner and millions of dollars from Trump. That was not a peace accord. It was not a peace agreement. The stuff that kicked off you want to talk about what led up to is the conflict in Israel? Well, let's look at Donald Trump pulling out of the Iranian nuclear agreement. Let's talk about Donald Trump, the Abraham Accords being a catalyst of them coalescing other countries around Israel, countries that were already peaceful with Israel, but now making an agreement. And look at the Palestinians. They're like, oh no, all these people are working against us now. Right? Yeah. He didn't calm the tensions. He increased the tensions in the Middle East. And then when it pops off, he's like, I don't know how this happened.
Well, is it true that Iran wasn't able to fund all the different Hezbollah as well? They didn't have money because of some of his policies. And
no, it was because of COVID. It was mostly because of COVID. They had frozen assets too, but every country was hurting for money. Like this is one of those talking points that I just wish Republicans would just zoom out and say, like, yes, Iran was struggling. They didn't have money. Who else didn't have money? Basically every other country who relied on oil exports for their economy because the world shut down. So unless we're saying Donald Trump caused COVID, then I think that's probably unfair.
Well, I think even before COVID, they were low on money though too, because of
because of what?
Biden did unfreeze a lot of money, and
yeah, but what did Trump? Well, but that money has to go to humanitarian aid. And there's a third party that makes sure it only goes to humanitarian aid. And it's their money, by the way. It's not like we're giving them money. It's their money. It's crazy that we get to control that, but we're giving that to help with humanitarian problems, which in part were caused because of COVID. Just like us, we have people that would have starved without humanitarian aid. Just like every other country. We just want to let innocent people die?
Trump is the one that created that account, right? Like it was in South Korea, Iran's money. That was Trump. He created that account. It was being held in a bank in South Korea, and then there were problems with that, and they moved it to Qatar. That's how it ended up there. And then it was released specifically, like Jay's saying, just for humanitarian aid. That's why you say like we gave Iran money. We didn't give them money. It was their own money, and we were like, you can use this for very specific purposes.
Yeah. We also unalived one of their leaders and took out innocent people in the process under Trump. I mean, you don't think that escalates things?
I would say yes and no. I mean, sometimes it shows that we're not messing around and don't mess with the United States. You know, if you do something stupid, you know, they're fear that they're going to pay the price for it. That's one way of looking at it.
It's a way of looking at it, but historically it's not true. Like if you look through the Middle East, every time we take out a leader, a new leader emerges that's worse. We create these power vacuums. In fact, Tulsi Gabbard was making this argument when she was a Democrat that like we have to stop interfering because we're making things worse. Like we're escalating it, and then we're blaming Biden for the escalation. Like that drone strike on Soleimani was horrible, man. It was horrible.
Yeah. Anyways, I just feel like a lot of things were going in the right direction. When it comes to economics, when it comes to maybe he's just the lucky coincidental president that had peaceful times and a lot of good things were going on. And
it wasn't that peaceful. It's like a revisionist history that it was peaceful. It absolutely wasn't. We had riots in our streets. We had literal white supremacists marching in our streets. Donald Trump was using drone strikes at a rate that no other president had ever done. And then he changed the rules so he didn't have to report them anymore. This is such revisionist history that we were peaceful under Trump. It's just absolutely not true.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what I think it is? I think that a lot of people have been conditioned to think Republicans are the good guys, Democrats are the bad guys. And I think you guys are all desperately searching for a reason to defend Donald Trump when it's painfully obvious that this is a man with literally no character whatsoever. He lies to you. He lies to you every single day. He still won't tell you that he lost the election. But you've been conditioned to believe that Democrats are bad. So when you see somebody like Vice President Harris, who represents the American dream, right? Somebody that was virtually raised by a single parent, went to prestigious schools, like worked hard, got a law degree, rose through the ranks as district attorney, then attorney general, then United States senator, then vice president. This is the American dream. And when that's in front of you without any scandal, you guys are like, I can't do it. I got to go with the guy that does just scandals and lies all the time.
Yeah. I would say the only thing I'd say about Kamala is that she seems to me like she's flip-flopping on a lot of her stances, and I mean, you can't deny that. I mean, she's
no, but you also, if you're going to hold that standard, then certainly you're going to hold Trump to that standard, right?
Well, what do you mean by that?
How about he changed his opinion on abortion. He lies now and says he didn't approve of the Iraq war. He did. He wanted to go to Iraq. What about his position on crypto has changed?
Yeah, he's selling the Republican platform off in pieces. He hated crypto. Up in 2019, he was saying it's ridiculous, no one knows what it is. Now he just spoke at the Bitcoin conference last Saturday. You can't, that's the your logic is inconsistent. If you have that problem with Kamala, you cannot support Donald Trump.
Well,
J.D. Vance called Trump America's Hitler just a few years ago. Yeah. And you're saying, oh, I don't like Kamala because she changes her mind? That's all you guys like do Kamala. Is flip-flop. You guys stand for nothing except for holding back progress.
Well, she's just, there's some pretty big things, the border, the fracking, there's
well, let's go one by one with those. Whose fault is it right now that we don't have a border deal in place?
I would say both sides are at fault for that.
Well, that's silly because both sides came together and negotiated a bipartisan bill that they all agreed to, and then Trump killed it. Trump called Mike Johnson. Trump called Mike Johnson and he said, "Don't vote for this. I want a campaign." And the House Republicans do whatever he says, so they did it, and they admit that, and Trump admits that. Trump says it's his fault that there's no border deal.
Well, I've not read the whole border deal, but I'm told that there was a lot of stuff in the border deal. If they would just have voted on the border deal, but that's not, they threw other stuff in there as well.
Yeah,
and that's
Ukraine,
the problem with
Ukraine funding, right?
Maybe, I don't know.
No, that's the only other thing that was included is Ukraine funding. Do you know why Ukraine funding was included?
Because it wouldn't get passed otherwise.
because House Republicans said we're not passing Ukraine funding unless you tie it to a border bill. So they agreed with what the House Republicans demands, and they took Ukraine funding and tied it to a border bill. You want to talk about a flip-flop? How about that? And the only reason they changed is because Trump wants to campaign on it. Look, brother, with all due respect, like if you were honest with yourself, you would recognize that like everything you're saying is wrong. And this is the problem that we have in this country. Even when everything you say turns out to be wrong, you're still going to vote for Trump. So it doesn't make me think like these issues actually matter to you. It makes me think like you're coming on here to tell us why we shouldn't vote for Vice President Harris. But you just ignore everything on your side. What policy would Vice President, like, let's talk about economists. What economist has said another 4 years of Joe Biden or another 4 years or a new 4 years from Vice President Harris would be detrimental to the United States?
You know what my computer is, Jason?
Yeah, I like people saying I won't change my mind. I did change my mind. I've changed my mind on a lot of things.
Hey, sorry, Jay.
You're good.
Say that again. Sorry.
No, I just look. Every legitimate economist says if we enact Donald Trump's policies, it will dive us into a recession. They don't make any sense. Cutting taxes for the rich when we are already in debt and we're already struggling will not fix the Certainly Liam. As soon as he left, we were just getting reported right and left, which is 100% what Liam did. But we have a backup account for a reason. Police is what the I gotta change the setup. Let's see.
Cool.
Now I gotta figure out how to do that. Hi
We're
Felice,
gonna
welcome
learn
back.
something.
There we go. What'd you say?
I said we're gonna learn something. Wait, which one do I need? Okay.
I learned yeah, look at me, I did it. Yeah, someone got mad. I did have some comments to read though. While we're getting going, if you guys will share this to your friends, obviously we have a much smaller following on this account. It may not show up in the For You page, so the likes and the shares are really important now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, and this is me now speaking, guys. This is our backup account. Can we all follow this account? I know not everyone is following it. If you are not following RTP Media News, please follow it now. Also me as well. If you happen to not be following me, follow me as well. But yeah, and share this account, share this live. Like, I think that this is actually a good thing. A 24-hour ban, because we need to go, well, I mean, like, we need to go live on the backup more, get and build more of a presence and stuff. So this will actually be good. So please, again, if you are not following this account, follow this account, share it with 5 people. We appreciate it so much. And tapping the screen, the finger workout, the primary reason we all come here every day to work on our dexterity,
It's true.
is the most important
reason
part,
I'm here.
right? We want to get opposition and we want to get to the For You page. And since we have less traction on this account, tapping the screen becomes super important. So we so appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Tanya from the last live said, didn't Hulk Hogan tear his shirt off? That's true. I didn't hear a lot of people complaining about that, about the stripper that they had at the RNC.
Yeah, Amber. No.
No, I was talking about Hulk Hogan.
Well, no, but I mean,
was talking about
Amber
Hulk
Rose
Hogan.
has an OF too. I
There we
mean,
go.
she's an actual sex worker, which again, I support sex work. I think it's great, but I'm just saying it's very hypocritical.
Beige Rage says Liam definitely faps to Megan Thee Stallion. I don't actually know what that means.
100%. He loved
Yeah.
her. He just couldn't say it because it's wrong in his mind. It's okay. We all love her.
Chris, my phone was loading, guys. I'm sorry about these comments. My phone was dead, so I didn't get to them in time. But to Liam, did I wake up in Footloose? That's beautiful. Tony says for plastic covers on the couches. Thank you, Tony. Dennis says MAGA can't stop our support of you. Thank you, Dennis. And Beige Rage says, Liam, see you next Tuesday. Good. It sounds like they have a plan to hang out next Tuesday. Let me read some more.
Awesome.
I still got stuff still coming into my Venmo, so it's coming into yours and mine. Brian wanted to ask Roger before we got taken down, does Roger support universal pre-K or paid maternity leave for the parents? You know what being pro-life really looks like. Denise says, or D-Nice, GOP equals greedy old pigs. I like that one. Jackie says, the momentum behind Kamala is extraordinary, and I'm 100% here for it. Women will decide this election, MAGA. Mark my words. Like, just the volume at her Atlanta rally yesterday was deafening. It's the most excitement we've seen since Obama. I think everybody would probably agree with that. Mickey says, get your freak loose this week. Thank you, Mickey. Sharon says, Dougie didn't take off his shirt this morning. He said you would take your pants off for the last 10 minutes of the show today. Who's to say they're not off? You'll never know. But Dougie did not take his shirt off. I even came with receipts showing that Dougie had promised it to me, but he didn't do it. Clinton says, I'm not that Clint. The opening ceremony was Bacchanalia, as it was a celebration of Dionysus because the first Olympics started in Greece. It was not the Last Supper. And one of the reasons Christians often get confused by these types of things is that Christianity borrowed a lot of stories and a lot of customs from other religions, right? Like Jesus wasn't born in December. But why do we have Christmas in December? Because there was already a holiday that day, right? He didn't die in April. Why is Easter in April? because that was a I'm trying to remember what day that was. It was something with harvest, like first day of harvest, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
box is empty. If you are opposition, feel free to jump in the box. We may not get a lot of opposition because it's this account, so we may just be sharing stories today. You might get Teacher Felice all day today.
Yeah, well, whatever the case may be, that is fine. But we are taking opposition. You don't have to talk to us about whatever we're talking about today. Did you happen to look at the video I posted this morning that I sent you of the story of the biggest donor to the Trump campaign? And
Yes, and let's talk about it because that's insane.
yeah, okay, because I think so. The article, we can talk about it or we can listen to it, right? So either one. I'm prepared to do both, but it's number 17 in the outline. This is actually, it comes from a New York Times article that's posted. It's called "A Pedigreed Rail Magnate is Pouring Millions into Electing Donald Trump." It's an unbelievable article. Like, I just can't even, but it's very long. So, but I recommend reading, or you can listen to it on the New York Times. So that's great. You don't actually have to read it. But what I think we should do is watch the clip, because Rachel Maddow summarized it and she did an amazing job. And then we can just react to it, because I think you'll find it hilarious.
Perfect.
Hi, Toodle. I see you in the comments. Guys, keep tapping the screen. Tap, tap, tap. Oh, I'm in
Updating Jen there. Sandra says the Niners have a racist on their team. Texans are going to be amazing. All right, well.
Who is it?
Nick Bosa. He's a Trump guy.
Okay,
I don't know if he's. I wouldn't say he's racist. I hope he's not. I guess I would say I'm hopeful he's not. But their family is big Trump supporters. Arturo says, "Can you say good morning to my wife Amanda? Amanda, good morning. Thanks for being here."
Good morning. Good morrow, Amanda. I have. Oh my gosh, I have so many. Yeah, we're at the Renaissance Festival. Oh my gosh, can I just I need to figure out the name because now I don't remember. But on HBO Max, there's a new documentary that is crazy. I guess the largest Renaissance fair in Texas. It's this guy who owns like his own city, and he's like crazy, definitely a disordered brain, definitely a cluster B. And it's about like the succession of what's going to happen to the largest Renaissance festival. And yeah, people are like half in character the whole time. It's insane. I highly recommend it. I don't even know how I find these things. Oh, sorry. I unmuted myself.
Oh, you're good.
Second.
One more comment here. This is from Justin. I've seen someone compare J.D. Vance as the worst VP pick since Sarah Palin. Is it possible for Trump to drop him? I don't know the logistics of that. I mean, I think the courts would rule that you can switch out your VP pick at this point. I don't think we've hit the deadlines yet. But that's the thing that the Republicans are going to have to weigh is like what's going to be the blowback compared to like what are you going to gain if you replace J.D. Vance with one of anybody else from the ticket. They've all got problems. But like I know a lot of people would say Vivek's got problems. Every single person that was up for the running has real problems. J.D. Vance wasn't the lone weirdo, and they accidentally picked the lone weirdo. Like they're gonna have problems with anybody they pick. I would imagine Trump sticks with it. I did want to say this the other day. I forgot. It's been rumored and it's been confirmed by a lot of people that J.D. Vance was a pick that was pushed on Trump by both of his sons, Eric and Don Jr. And ever since J.D. Vance started campaigning, Don Jr. has been having a meltdown. He's not doing well. He may have some things he needs to go see a doctor about, but it has been an absolute nightmare for him. And I'd imagine that his dad is not being very kind to him about it. There's old JD.
Sorry, that's my charger. Oh yeah, you guys are gonna like this. So let me just quickly figure out. I'll find it in the outline. I think it's in. I'll find it in a second. But I just think we should listen to this. This is just another quick clip, right? That has resurfaced about JD Vance. Oh, I have the wrong thing up. Let me change. Yeah, You guys can use my Venmo or Jay's Cash App. Sorry, I didn't have them both visible, but I think that this is just interesting to hear, because every time JD Vance tries to be like, oh, I'm not the guy you guys think I am, right? He scrubbed his whole Twitter account. I guess a lot of the things that have come out about him, it's because like he didn't have his security settings like right on Facebook. They did a whole article in the Washington Post a couple days ago about like, don't be JD Vance, like learn your Facebook security settings and your like Instagram security settings so people can't find all this crazy stuff in your past that you said. So here's just another example. And just remember that JD Vance, this is the guy that called Trump America's, guy from 1930s and 40s Germany.
We got to be so careful now.
Think about who his boss is, right? Think about how crazy his boss is, and then listen to him talk about people without children.
Right, there's just these basic cadences of life that I think are really powerful and really, really valuable when you have kids in your life. And the fact that so many people, especially in America's leadership class, just don't have that in their lives, I worry that it makes people more sociopathic and ultimately our whole country a little bit less less mentally stable. And of course, you talk about going on Twitter. Final point I'll make is you go on Twitter, and almost always the people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids at home.
This guy, Trump, is this man's boss. Just can't do it.
The thing about this analysis is it's not the worst analysis, but it's like causation and correlation. Yeah, it's likely that the people who are most active and crazy on Twitter probably don't have children, because if they did, like most Americans, they would be taking care of those children. They wouldn't have as much time. But it is ironic looking at the celebrities from the right, the ones that Donald Trump loves to talk about all the time. Laura Loomer, Cat Turd, what's his name? Shit, now I forgot his name. There's a God, why can't I remember his name off the top of my head? That's gonna drive me nuts. There it was. There it's gone. The guy that pretended to be a black woman. What's his name? Joey Manorino. That's his name. Yeah, like.
Well, tell him what you're talking about, just so people know. That's an interesting story.
Joey Manorino is a big Trump supporter. He loves going after women. I'm pretty sure he's gay too. I may be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure he's a gay Trump supporter. But the other day he posted a picture of a black woman and said, like, I think it said something to the effect of, I'm a black woman. I voted Democrat all my life. I'm voting for Donald Trump. I would never vote for Kamala Harris. But then he said, like, my mommy black, my daddy black, I be black my whole life. But he just forgot to put it to his alt account. He obviously has another account where he's a black woman, but he accidentally posted it on his own account. And we know this. We know that this is true. We now know almost without a doubt that what's the account name that Jack Posobiec is running?
Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, besides his own, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, maybe we didn't cover that story. It's a massive. It's not Libs of TikTok. It's another one. There's another one. Shia Rychek. There's another person not married. Yeah, right. So he's not wrong to say that there are people who are single without children who are crazy on Twitter. What he's not pointing out is that happens across the board.
What's most important, to understand is that someone's psychology, whether or not you have a disordered brain, has nothing to do with whether or not you reproduce children. Trust me, I come from someone with a disordered brain, and her having children did not change any of that. It did not make her a good person. Like, it's just, these are just the facts, right? Like, it's basic psychology.
It was End Wokeness. That's the account that they've now discovered Jack Posobiec is also running, which he retweets all the time. It's when he really wants to say, like, Jack Posobiec says a lot of awful things, but when he really wants to say something awful, he goes to his End Wokeness account. And then Elon retweets all of it because Elon is, he's alt-right. We can just say that now.
Yeah, we can just say that. Okay, so I just want to make sure for Kim and Casey, I'm on the section, it's more Dem wins and Republican weirdos. That this video I just played, I should stop naming sections of the outline these things. This is 10. This is the bottom, and I'm just gonna go up from there because I want to play this. Pete Buttigieg. If you haven't seen him talk to Jon Stewart, Jon Stewart's interviews always come out amazing. But there's so many good parts to this, but I just thought we should play at least one of them. I love everything Jon Stewart does.
Yeah, and I think, look, there is a temptation to have our message be entirely about Donald Trump because we're so disturbed by what his return would mean. And maybe a little more also about J.D. Vance because of how odd he's turned out to be.
I gotta tell you, boy, did that dude drop a turd on launch. Like, I've never seen anything like that, where they were like... Yeah. One day they were like, the heir to the MAGA fortune and the Prince J.D. Sean Martin. Yeah. He comes out and he's like, I hate cat ladies.
And it's just like systematically insulted so many people. And it's not just the kind of things he said, but the policy ideas behind them. Like he has this idea that you should get extra votes if you have kids.
Extra votes?
Yeah, he suggested that you should have extra votes if you're a parent.
Really?
Now, I think there's lots of
You
things.
don't even get that in your own house. I'm a parent. You don't get anything.
Sure, I'm trying to find that. I mean, ours are not yet 3, but and it's rooted in this strange idea that it's not just. He doesn't just say that being a parent gives you, an important role as a citizen, which I agree with. That it gives you unique perspective on the future. It's that not being a parent makes you less. Like
I think that's absolutely how they feel.
He said, people who don't have children. This is a quote. Have no physical commitment to the future of this country.
Yep.
Wow.
And I just think about how, like, no physical commitment to the future. Like, when I was deployed to Afghanistan, I didn't have kids back then.
Right.
But I will tell you, especially when there was a rocket attack going on, my commitment to this country felt pretty physical.
Can I just say, oops, I did not mean to do that. I don't even know how that happened. Can I just say, though, Pete Buttigieg, pound for pound, is our best political pundit we have.
Yeah, oh, yeah. By miles.
If this was not a bigoted country, with ideas about, like, everyone, the center of power is a straight, white, male, you know what I mean? And this is the best we have in this country. The best communicator. Nobody could do an interview like this man. Like, watching him, and I have it. Have you seen him on Fox News on Sunday?
He's incredible. Yeah.
Oh my God. And
I can't believe they keep bringing him on.
I know,
it's so bad for them every time.
The only person better is JB Raskin because it's just so funny. But yeah, Pete Buttigieg is the best we have. His blood pressure doesn't even raise when he's debating. He's just like, hey, I'm going to tell you a story and I'm going to tell you why we're wrong. And the second thing I want to say is just, imagine saying to people without children, like, I care so much about this country, specifically about children. That's why I was a teacher and made no money, because of how much I care about children and understand the most important thing we could do is ensure children's futures in this country. And there's so many ways to support children and their futures in this country without having a child. Like, it's just crazy to imply that people without children have no stake in the future.
Hey, Ty, I see you in the box. You're in timeout for a while, dude. Like, you've said some crazy shit. Nobody wants to hear from you anymore. Sorry, bud. You're in timeout for a while.
Oh, I didn't know. You'll have to tell me. I didn't hear.
Well, I've just heard what he said in other lives, and I don't think he gets to go around and then come to our live and pretend that's not who he is. So sorry, Ty. Think about what you've done. Think about some of your views. Think about the things that you've said. Maybe drop the racism. Maybe drop the sexism. Come back in like a month or so, and we'll see if you've made some changes.
Wow. Yeah, and stay off YouTube.
I think there's lots of
You don't even get that in your...
Oh, wait, I want to make sure I get to the right place.
Quote, have no physical commitment to the future of this country.
Wow.
And I just think about how, like, no physical commitment to the future. Like, when I was deployed to Afghanistan, I didn't have kids back then.
Right.
But I will tell you, especially when there was a rocket attack going on, my commitment to this country felt pretty physical.
This is why people love seeing you go on their shows, because that framing is perfect. Because it points to that idea that who are you to tell what's in someone else's heart about what they feel about the future or what they feel about this country. And the sacrifices that you made, as you said, without having had children were tremendous. So it's shocking. And I also have to address.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't put too much, but again, there's several more parts to this that are really good. So if you want to watch it, I do suggest checking it out. I suggest checking out every single Pete Buttigieg interview there is. I just wanted to quickly play because I think it's, just in case no one's seen it, this is Kamala's first TV campaign ad, and it's only a minute and I love it. So
adorable.
I know, isn't she adorable?
The one thing Kamala Harris has always been: fearless. As a prosecutor, she put murderers and abusers behind bars. As California's Attorney General, she went after the big banks and won $20 billion for homeowners. And as Vice President, she took on the big drug companies to cap the cost of insulin for seniors. Because Kamala Harris has always known who she represents.
This campaign is about who we fight for. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. Where every senior can retire with dignity. But Donald Trump wants to take our and big corporations and end the Affordable Care Act. But we are not going back. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
I just think it's great how she's talking about hope and the future. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're all just so mired in the past, and
I think has been so incredible about Kamala is how she has met the moment, right? Like this is uncharted territory, and she has met the moment with compassion, with understanding, with grace, and with energy. And I think that that's what the American people are seeing. Like this was an unusual way to get in the race, and she handled it brilliantly. And she's standing in front of crowds that don't have to be prompted to chant, to explode with applause about the ideas. It's not about her. Like they love the ideas that she's bringing up. It's been incredible. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody rise to the moment quite like this. And I know this will be unpopular because of the decisions that they made afterwards, but the only thing I can think of is George Bush with the megaphone down at Ground Zero. And whatever you might think of those moments afterwards, he rose to the occasion in that moment, and he united the American people. He didn't make it about him. And this is reminiscent of that. We are in a very strange time politically. Our country is extremely divided, and then we just had a president step down, and she has handled this beautifully. I don't know that anybody could have handled it any better than she has.
No, I agree. And no one wanted it either. Like, she's in the toughest position. Imagine just thinking, hey, this is the fate of democracy. You've got 105 days. Like, put this campaign on your back and drag us over the line. You know, don't get me wrong. We're going to do everything we can to help. But I don't envy that position. And you're right. Like, she's handled it with such grace. I was thinking, like, I did watch her speak in 2020. And, like, she is so polished. Like, the cadence of her speeches, like, watching her yesterday, it's just like, wow. Like, Biden has really helped shape, like, you know, you can tell, like, she's become like an excellent politician.
Well, we're seeing when people said, I don't think I grasped this at the time, and I'm seeing it now in real time, but when people were like, she's a prosecutor, she's made for this moment. As a prosecutor, and the way that she's running her campaign, she doesn't get stuck in the weeds. Like, Donald Trump just throws shit after shit after shit. And the responses by the Democrats and by her have been brilliant. There's like, you guys are weird. Just stop being weird. And then she's saying, like, hey, if you have something to say to me, just come say it to my face. They're not getting in. That's the hard part with Trump. And that's the hard part with debating in general, especially with politics, is it's so hard not to get dragged down into the petty shit. It's extremely hard. Like, we try every day not to get dragged down in the petty, and we fail all the time. And then we find ourselves in a debate that got off the rails. We're like, oh yeah, we got dragged into the petty shit. But she has just stayed above that. And that, I think American people just feel that. They feel somebody that's not going to be part of the exact same problem that we already have, that she's rising above. And that's why in every poll, it's getting better and better and better and better. And Trump, we don't even see him that much in the news cycle anymore. Like, she is the news cycle, and she's doing it by running a positive campaign and saying, like, we're going to fix these things. We're going to make things better. We're not going back. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, and today it will be interesting. I believe, I want to say Harrisburg. It might be Erie, Pennsylvania. But Trump has a rally tonight. First, he's speaking in Chicago. I believe at some sort of organization that supports. I can't remember. I believe it's for some minority group, possibly. And then he's going, I believe, to Pennsylvania and has a rally. So, and I just want to say, think about Kamala's rally, how amazing that was. And I guarantee you, I mean, if it follows what he did all weekend long, it's just an escalation of anger and panic and bitterness towards her. You know what I mean? And all the things that no one, and I'll say this, like, it's not just that Kamala has changed. I think the American people have changed. And I'm so impressed because it's not the public education system or, you know, information provided to us in some way. Like, we all have gotten together on the internet and educated each other, ourselves, you know what I mean, and the general masses, and have as a collective decided, like, oh, we're not going to accept certain types of behavior. Like, it's not, you know, it's just weird, we don't want to see it. And like that reaction, like, if you think about how when Hillary was faced with so much misogyny, like, did we back her up in the right way, or did we accept it? You know, were we silent? Like, were we still at the point where we were like, oh, I don't know, like, I don't know why, but subconsciously I'm not convinced a woman can lead. You know what I'm saying? And I think we've all done the work, you know, and I'm proud of us that the point we're at now, when Trump starts hurling these like gross racist or misogynist ideas, people are just like, hey, that's weird, and I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's the most effective. It's the most effective ad campaign I've seen. The weird, and then, do you have the ad? Maybe we should show it. Do you have the ad of the people that are talking about, like, it's talking about sex? It's like a mock Republican ad. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think so, but if you send me the link, I will
play
right what. Yeah, send me the link.
If you haven't seen this, you're in for an absolute treat. Let me see.
Yeah, and while you find it, this is so this is just a guy I follow, or actually I don't follow him, but I see all the time. So he's saying Harris has wiped out. This is from the Bloomberg Morning Consult poll, which I thought Morning Consult's one of the most reputable poll companies. And so I'm always watching the Morning Consult polls, especially the ones with Bloomberg. And the ones that came out in early July when Biden was still our candidate were probably some of the most dire. I think he was behind in all 7 swing states by 2 or more points. And I was just like, I remember the day I saw the poll and was just like, sick to my stomach. And now, yesterday, new polling came out. So Harris has wiped out Trump's lead across 7 swing states. So just understand, it's not just wiping out his lead. Like, Biden was far, far behind. So she's like made up Biden's position and then overtaken Trump. Like, so in Trump's lead, well, wiped out his lead, right, across 7 swing states in the latest round of the Bloomberg News Morning Consult poll. The poll found a big Dem lead in Michigan, which this is crazy because remember we had questions about the not committed vote and how that would affect Michigan. Well, Michigan loves Kamala Harris. A more modest Trump lead in Pennsylvania, which there was a huge gap. And everywhere else a dead heat. And here, this is, you can see over time the actual, oh, you guys can't see, but it's Arizona now, Kamala is +2, Michigan, she's +11, North Carolina, Trump's +2. Crazy. But like,
+11 in Michigan is insane. Yeah.
Think how far behind we were. I think it was like a 26-point swing or something. Like, it's insane what she's done in Michigan. They love her. I mean, that's probably the best news. North Carolina's still +2, but we have made for Trump, but we've made up so much ground. Thank God. Wisconsin is +2 for Kamala. Pennsylvania is +4 for Trump, but again, we had a huge deficit in Pennsylvania, and I don't know. This is what I'm thinking. We might need to have Josh Shapiro be the VP because polling shows 3 in 10 Trump supporters support Trump, but also love him and say they will vote for him. So, like, that could be our move.
Look, I think that just looking at this polling again, like the most recent one that came out today was the Caps Harris poll, which is, I think Harvard funds that. And I was just looking at the data, and this is what we have to figure out, because I don't think the polls are right, but let's be clear. Like, I can't prove that the polls are right or wrong. I could very well be wrong. But by political party, you have 37% of the people being polled as Democrat, same number for Republican, 23% of independents. Where they live, 33% are urban, 47% are suburban, and 20% are rural. Now, here's where I think is interesting. And this is why I think the polls are wrong, and especially the ones right now that still show Donald Trump leading. Political ideology. Felice, do you think most Democrats would call themselves liberal or moderate? What do you think? Just based on your experience. I think most would say liberal, right? I don't think there's a lot of people in the Democrat Party that are going to say I'm a moderate. So political ideology is 24% liberal, 38% moderate, and 38% conservative. This is where I think people are lying. When they say that they're moderate, almost everybody that's a moderate is like a Trump person. I think they're oversampling people that vote for Trump, just based on these numbers alone. You go and you look at the ages. The ages are broken down pretty well, almost even between 18 and 34, 35 and 49, 50 and 64 and 65 plus. Male, females, 48, 52, which is about right for our population. But we're only polling 34% of four-year college educated degrees or more. Everybody else is either just a high school degree or it's a high school and some college. So 63% are people that only have a diploma or a little bit of college but no degree. I don't think the sample sizes are correct. I think these are outdated sample sizes, and I don't think they're showing the places where Vice President Harris is picking up steam. I also think it's good. I hope they don't change it. I hope that for the rest of this election, Donald Trump stays 1 or 2 points ahead. That would be ideal. That's great because people are going to show up. But I do think these polls are wrong. And I think that these are just guesses by me. But they don't seem to reflect what our country really is.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I always take polls with a grain of salt. I agree. I've never believed. Yeah, I agree with you about the sample sizes too. I do just think watching the shift is very interesting. It's just so fascinating. After July 13th, the RNC convention announcing a VP, and somehow all of that has caused Trump to be in a free fall. So what we're going to talk about next is Hoodie.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm wearing you today.
Cool.
And every day. What's up?
I tried to get talk with you when you were down in Mexico yesterday with Jeff, but you know
what happened in Mexico? What do you mean?
Well, what happens in Mexico stays in Mexico, right?
Jeff does go to Mexico
I think that's
like
Las
every
Vegas.
Saturday.
Well, it's Mexico too, but what I'm saying is it's a little bit different over there than it is over here. You know what I mean?
I honest to God don't know what you're talking about there, Hoodie.
Well, I mean, I've spent summers there because of my family. Like, what do you mean by different?
Well, okay, it's an example of like when people do videos and they're like, speeding or thing. They always say, "Oh, they're in Mexico," right? It's like a.
Oh, if you're saying that Americans believe when they travel to Mexico that they are in some way above the law, yes, I have noticed that.
Anyway, it was just a joke. Never mind.
Sorry, buddy. I tried.
No,
I just wasn't following.
So I wanted to talk with you and just kind of discuss how you feel about you getting your perfect candidate and her not standing behind what she said she stood for and what you actually are advocating for in every live that I've heard from you.
Well, the problem is your premise. Don't, but she's not the perfect candidate. She's the best candidate that we have. I've never once voted for a candidate that shared all of my views. Even when I was like diehard Republican with Mitt Romney, there were a couple of things that I disagreed on, and obviously those views evolved. But the problem with your premise is that in order for you to make an argument, you have to set up this straw man position that I don't hold. I think she's a great candidate, and I think that there are things that she has said in the past that she either doesn't believe anymore, or she recognizes that she shouldn't say those things because they won't be popular. And either way, I don't actually care. I really don't. I want somebody who's politically savvy. I want somebody that when they're in office, they focus on the things that they can get done, not like this wish list of things. So if there are ideas that she has that she doesn't think she can accomplish, yeah, she shouldn't talk about them. She shouldn't focus on them.
Well, for example, this co-authored bill on the Medicare with Bernie, that is like everything that you've been, talking about for a very long time, right? And then when her campaign is asked about these previous statements or this bill, right, she does not stand behind those words. So my question is,
you're saying she denounced Medicare for all? I didn't know that.
She is walking her staff, according to the reporting, is that she is not standing behind, that position, and it just makes a person wonder.
Do you have the quote? Because I just want to hear the exact. What do you have the quote by any chance?
It was on one of your favorite news broadcasting stations. Has 3 letters, starts with an F.
Fox? Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. What she said is that when they've been asked about this, and I don't know if it was a direct quote from her, I only saw it from the campaign, so I don't know if she was also asked this in the interview, but the campaign says that she supports the progress made during her tenure as vice president and under Joe Biden of expanding and protecting the Affordable Care Act. But she also says that the next step is something like Medicare for all. She's not saying we should stop there. She's saying the next step should be something like Medicare for all. I agree with that. I actually think the Affordable Care Act, I don't care about preserving that. Maybe I disagree with her on that. I want it removed and replaced, but I don't want to go back where we were. So I understand needing to protect that. And messaging, right? You're going to have to convince some moderate Democrats that Medicare for all is a good thing. That may take some time. And I think she's playing it the right way. Politically speaking, she's handling this beautifully.
Right, but at some point in time, when we look at that would be the biggest issue in conversation for me. But at some point in time, we have to look at the Trojan horse concept here, whereas you have somebody representing what they are about previous to entering into this presidential campaign, and now you have somebody walking everything back that she
didn't walk that back. See, you're misinterpreting what she said. This isn't a Trojan horse. She's openly said and continues to say that she supports Medicare for all. She's not walking anything back.
Well,
but she can't pass that unilaterally. It's going to have to go through Congress. So that's going to take some negotiating. That's going to take some convincing.
But why can't she just be honest with the American people?
She is being honest with the American people.
I think she's a Trojan horse, Jay.
Well, I know, but she's being honest. She's
horse
literally
for
saying,
who?
I support what we did, and the next logical step is Medicare for all. That's incredibly honest. What's dishonest about that?
Well, I think the fact that she's the co-sponsor of the bill with Bernie only solidifies her position, and for her campaign not to come out and
She's the first person to sign on. She didn't co-sponsor.
Yeah, she is saying that they should do that. She still believes we should have Medicare for all. What is she lying about?
Well, her campaign.
I think I know the answer, Hoodie. I think what the distinction is you're missing is when people say right now in current climate, because Trump was saying it, we need to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. What happens is people think what you're saying is, oh my God, like the way that I have healthcare, what I do to have healthcare is going to be taken away. And what she's trying to do is just reassure people, like, hey, the the Affordable Care Act is going to be there until we come up with a better solution. Like, that's how I interpret it. You're taking it like she's lying. I think what she's saying is, hey, don't worry. Like, I support the Affordable Care Act. I'm going to make sure it doesn't go away because Republicans are threatening to make it so. That's what Trump was doing, was to allow insurance companies to refuse people based on pre-existing conditions. That's what people are scared of. So what she's saying is, I'm going to protect it as is. I'm not going to allow people to start factoring in pre-existing conditions. But, there is a next step. And the next step is that we don't have to pay for healthcare.
Okay, so with that conversation, we have to go to the two elephants in the room. And number one is insurance lobbyists, and number two, the pharmacia. So
Like Big Pharma?
La Farmacia.
Well, that's what it is.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So I mean, are you gonna tell me that she's gonna rebuke any and all contributions from these two lobbyists in her campaign, right?
No.
And then get
I'm not saying
elected,
that.
she's going to go against these two entities.
I'm not saying that.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be political suicide.
Correct. Yeah, she's smart.
So instead of being honest with the American people and her donors, she's going to
be honest about what? You still haven't been able to tell us what she's lying about. What do you mean being honest?
Well,
what is she lying about?
I think that she's lying about her true positions, Jay.
She's not. She says that she wants single payer health care.
But that removes insurance companies, and it also deleverages the pharmacy companies for just charging whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, that's her position. I honest to God, I don't know what you're talking about, Hoodie. Like, that is her position. But she's running for president, not queen. She can't unilaterally do that.
Right.
So she's saying like, here's what we have now. I've been supportive of the gains that we're making to try and make our system better. Here's what I support. And look, if she can get Medicare for all passed, great. If she can convince enough people to vote for it, great. If not, she's still going to try and make our healthcare system better. She's being more honest than most politicians. Most politicians refuse to show you like a middle ground. They refuse to tell you like, all right, here's what I want, but here's what's realistic. She's saying, here's what's realistic, here's what I want. And I think that should be applauded. Like, she's being way more honest than most politicians. And when it's odd that the time when somebody's actually being honest, you're like, oh, now they're lying.
Well, no,
like, you're so used to Trump that you don't know what somebody telling you the truth looks like anymore.
Jay, I'm 49 years old. I've been through plenty of presidential candidates. Trust me. Okay, I this idea that somehow Trump has somehow spoiled my thinking process. No, I'm not going to entertain that.
You should entertain it, because when you're conditioned, you know who never knows that they were conditioned? The person that was conditioned.
Jay,
right? No, I'm telling you from somebody who has done years of therapy getting out of conditioning, and still, like, I still find conditioning in my life today. You don't know. When somebody lies about everything, at some point, Hoodie, you made a decision that the truth didn't matter anymore. Because Donald Trump lies so prolifically that you cannot support him and claim to be a person who cares about honesty. So at some point, I don't know when it was, you decided the truth didn't matter anymore. It's not relevant to who you support.
Well, I think, Jay, that you're missing one of the key aspects of what Trump represents. And that is the opposite of what I'm trying to describe from your candidate, and that is
the opposite of honesty is what? Dishonesty. We're saying the same thing, Hoodie.
Hold on. When we talk about honesty in politicians, we have to reevaluate our standards, right? I mean, let's both be honest.
No, incorrect.
So you're saying that all politicians don't lie?
No, I'm saying that I have my standards, and I can recognize that there are levels. Like, somebody can lie. Somebody might lie a handful of times, or sometimes things that they say aren't lies. They're just things they got wrong, right? It's my job to sort through that. But Trump lies about everything. And I mean everything. I don't think you could think of a topic that he hasn't lied about. We could spend this entire day talking about lies Trump told, and we wouldn't run out. We could go into tomorrow. We could probably spend an entire week, just you and I talking about all the things Trump lied about. And you can't do that with anybody else. You couldn't go record for record.
Okay, Jay, I don't think that conversation is going to go anywhere. So
why not? Why would, if we could spend a week talking about Trump's lies, but we could spend 20 minutes talking about Vice President Harris's lies, why are you the type of person who thinks those two things are the same?
I don't think that it's going to be a 20-minute conversation. That's why, Jay.
Okay, well, what did she lie about? Give me one example of a Vice President Harris lie.
Well, she says that she's 2A supporter, and obviously she's not.
A 2A supporter?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, so do you think having an assault weapons ban is a violation of the Second Amendment?
Define assault, Jay.
Yeah, well, we would define what it was, right? But do you think that's a violation of the Second Amendment?
Absolutely.
Okay, well then how come when we had an assault weapon ban for 10 years and it was challenged by to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court upheld it as constitutional?
Well, if the Supreme Court doesn't give us a ruling that we like, we'll just pack it with as many.
It's their job, right? Wait, no. Now you're telling me that the Supreme Court is they're just wrong.
No,
Can you explain to me why the Supreme Court would rule that it's constitutional? What argument do you have that it's not constitutional?
Hold on. My point here is this. You have a candidate that is openly stating that she wants a buyback program and to place
cool. That's not unconstitutional. I have no problem with that. You can be pro to. I also support assault weapons ban, and I'm pro 2A.
Okay, what is an assault weapon to you, Jay?
Well, obviously there's no definition, right? That's not like you don't go in and you say, I'd like to purchase one assault weapon, right? But to me, it would be something that fires at a rapid rate. We may have to pick a cutoff number, but something that can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time.
Well, Jay,
yes.
it's ironic that we already have laws against that.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't. Well, then how do people keep getting ARs?
Okay, well, you're
talking about fully automatic versus semi-automatic.
Well, there you go, Jay.
But that wasn't my argument. I said I chose my words very carefully there, Hoodie. I chose them carefully on purpose because I think that the cutoff shouldn't be automatic versus semi-automatic. I think we should have a different cutoff. And just statistically, like, bro, I'm tired of school shootings. I'm tired of them. And you know when they dramatically rose in this country? When the assault weapon ban ended. There's a direct correlation there.
Can I just hold on? So
I just need to clarify something. I'm reading the bill for the 1994 assault weapons ban, and it does say semi-automatic. It says it shall be unlawful for a person to manufacture, transfer, or possess a semi-automatic assault weapon. Paragraph shall not apply to the possession or transfer of any semi-automatic assault weapon otherwise lawfully possessed on the date of the enactment of this subsection. So prior to that, meaning you
right,
can
and so we have the Supreme Court ruling of Bruin, who has clearly stated and judged and came in with an opinion on this, and it clearly states that that's not constitutional, right? So we have Harris, who is now going against what's already
Bruin. Hold on. Bruin is about licensing. Bruin it's about licensing.
It changed.
Do you not know what Bruin's about? What's Bruin about? Tell me the case of Bruin versus what is it against the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's it about? I'll read it to you. The state of New York makes it a crime to possess a firearm without a license, whether inside or outside the home. An individual who wants to carry a firearm outside his home may obtain an unrestricted license to have and carry a concealed pistol or revolver if he can prove that proper cause exists for doing so. This is about licensing. This has nothing to do with automatic versus semi-automatic. So can we go back now to what we were talking about and not have you derail
Can I read two
decisions
messages
that aren't relevant?
Yeah.
I have to read two messages. I have to read 2 messages. This is from Casey. Thank you, Casey. How do you feel about Carrie Lake winning the primary? Love you guys. I was tracking that yesterday. Yes, Carrie Lake won her primary against Mark Lamb, who I believe is our current sheriff pretending to be a Democrat. Yeah, so she will be running against Ruben Gallego. My answer to that is, Casey, that is best case scenario for the Democrats. We did not want Mark Lamb, who's an actual respected, like, lifetime law enforcement officer in Arizona, up against Ruben Gallego. Carrie Lake is our best opposition. So that's actually, I'm happy about it. I was gonna text you last night, but you were busy and I was giving you too much information. But Schweikert won his primary.
Saw that, yeah.
First district, yeah. Andy Biggs didn't even have a challenger. But yeah, yesterday was a lot of Arizona primaries. Oh, what's interesting is, remember the Abe Hamada? He beat Blake the Snake. So Blake, I'm pretty sure he was ahead when I looked last. I'm pretty sure Blake Masters, yeah, it was really close, but Abe Hamada was ahead the last I checked. So Peter Thiel's candidate might not get he might have lost. Nobody wants Blake Masters.
All right, go ahead,
Not
Hoodie.
even the Republicans.
All right. So what
Did he
you
win?
don't realize is how.
Oh wait, let me read one more. Can I read one more?
Yeah, sorry. That
one
was my
more.
bad. Sorry, Hoodie.
Shout out to all the sidewalks out there for keeping me off the streets. That's fun.
That's good.
Amen, Chris. Amen.
Actually,
Thank you.
let me
for
read
your
one real quick
donation.
too that I forgot about. Clint says, so excited about Kamala Harris. Why do we call her by her first name and not the last like her male counterparts? VP Harris, Madam Harris, or just Harris? She deserves the respect. She wants to be called Kamala. So that's been her decision. That's how they're branding it. In fact, I've been saying Vice President Harris, but I'm trying to say Kamala more often. That's what she wants. So I think we should probably
Kamala
respect
HQ.
that.
Yeah, that's the branding. As a marketing professional, yeah, she's branding herself as Kamala. I think we should do what she wants.
Go ahead, Hoodie.
Yeah, no problem. So what you don't maybe realize is that when you look at California pew pew laws, we have a register, and that register dictates which pew pews are going to be able to be purchased in the state of California. So when the Bruins ruling came in, it tied into that as well, and basically affected California's list. And so with that being in the decision, our list is now gone, right? And so, my point here is this: we have a candidate that is going after a position that the Supreme Court has already weighed in on.
No, they didn't. No, this is where you're lying. No, they didn't. The Supreme Court had an opportunity to hear the constitutionality of the assault weapon ban. You're talking again. When you talk about Bruin, you're talking about a violation. The argument was it was a violation of your 14th and Second Amendment right, saying that that you can't have somebody, if they can show cause, that they can't carry a weapon, right? Because the licenses were restricted. This was about licensing.
Well, there shall be no lists.
This is about licensing. It has nothing to do with the constitutionality of an assault weapon ban. Of course, an assault weapon ban is constitutional. You know how I know? Because in the Constitution, as it was written, it doesn't specify any weapons. But in this country, there are a lot of weapons that we're not allowed to have. Not without special permissions, right? Not everybody can have just any weapon that they want. So I already know that we can set restrictions on what weapons people can have. That's already been upheld as constitutional, which is why the assault weapons ban didn't get overturned in the court. We had to wait for it to expire.
Well, what my point here, Jay, is that you look at a state like where I'm at in California, and they went after specific. They had the list, so whereas they were going to not allow people to buy new pew pews because
when you say list, what are you saying? What's
Huh?
on the list? When you say list, I'm not sure what you're referencing. Are you saying a list of people, a list of weapons? What is this list you're talking about?
A list of weapons, right? And they required micro stamping, which is like manufacturally impossible. So they basically made an artificial list of pew pews that are authorized, but any new model that's not on the list requires micro stamping, and if any changes to said pew pew had to be reevaluated, and because of the micro stamping provision, it basically restricted the ability of the citizens in California from purchasing pew pews. It's very
I don't
hard.
see anything about that. But again, you're talking about a state law, and states are allowed to have their own laws regarding this. Again, your argument was that an assault weapons ban was unconstitutional,
Well,
and now
yes,
now you're in California talking
no.
about like micro printing or whatever the
Right,
word. What's
but
the
what
word?
I'm
Yeah.
saying
So
here
this.
is-
So again, but I need you to explain to me how an assault weapons ban is unconstitutional, and you're not doing that. You're just talking
Okay.
about a bunch of ancillary
I
stuff that's
understand
not
that because
relevant.
you're not allowing me to get to the point. My point here is that
Fucking get to it,
California,
man.
Yeah,
You went
no,
to
no,
New
no.
York, now you're
I
in
understand.
California.
California is on the precedent of creating the
Precipice.
said laws that you want on the books for the whole country. The problem is that the Supreme Court continually has the position of looking at the Constitution organically and its historical
What is it?
perspective. And let's say the ammo ban is gone. The 10-round clip is gone. The list for micro stamping is gone.
Brother, when are you getting to the point? When are you getting to the part where you tell me
Okay,
why
I'm saying here
an
is
assault
that
weapon ban is unconstitutional? When are you
the
getting to that
most-
point? I
Yep.
keep asking you, and you keep saying, "Here I am, I'm getting to it," and then you don't get to it. Can you
Okay.
fucking get to it, Hoodie?
the most progressive state when it comes to
Jesus
pew-pew
Christ!
has all
God
of
damn,
their
Hoodie, get to
laws-
the point, brother.
I am.
You're talking about state. You're talking about state laws. Your claim was banning assault rifles is unconstitutional.
Absolutely.
I'm asking you to show me a case that says banning assault rifles is unconstitutional, and you're not. You're talking about microprinting.
Jay,
You're
what
talking
I'm-
about licensing and microprinting. Please show me a case. The answer is, Hoodie, and this is why I'm frustrated, is you actually know the answer. You actually know that it is constitutional. And you're trying to make a non-educated argument as to why it is.
No,
This has
no.
nothing to do with an assault weapon ban. Nothing
Jake.
you've said has anything to do with an assault weapon ban.
all you need to do is give me 15 more seconds. Can you do that?
Well, yeah, 15.
Listen, what I'm saying is that the current environment for gun control, pew pew control in California has all been overturned. And for you to take any gun control national, it's not going to happen. That's my
Okay,
point.
so so your point is that you can't prove it's unconstitutional. You just wanted to say
It's
you just
not
wanted to
going to
make
happen.
you just wanted to make a prediction. Yeah. See, this is the problem, Hoodie. Look at this. Now at the end of it, I've given you 5 minutes to ramble incoherently, and at the end of it, you said it's not going to happen. But your argument was it's unconstitutional. Do you see why now I'm frustrated that it took you 10 minutes to just say, I predict this is not going to happen?
The
It's an 85-15 issue, gun control. Not banning 2A, Hoodie, but common sense gun control, things
okay.
like an assault weapons ban or making it harder for people to get assault weapons. That is an 85-15 issue. More people support that than support women's rights to bodily
So
autonomy.
what is the
And
difference?
Hoodie, the difference is you are yelling about California states' rights and screaming at you're willing to fight for inanimate objects like assault weapons, and you don't care that
You
the
can't even
states' rights
define an
argument
assault
takes
weapon.
away women's bodily autonomy. No, I'm just saying it's very weird to me that right now you're desperately fighting for an inanimate object and their rights, but you won't fight for women's bodily autonomy.
Oh, so we're changing the subject?
No, I'm
She's
not. I'm
pointing
just
out that
you.
you are
You
a
went to
hypocrite.
states' rights. You're a hypocrite. I'm pointing out that your
No, I'm not
your
a
line of
hypocrite.
logic, your own lines of logic, is illogical.
What makes a pew pew an assault rifle? Because it's
You
not
would-
whether it's
you would
automatic or semi.
yeah, because you would have to, any of these bans, you would have to get specific. So you would take any of the weapons that you wanted to ban, and you would list the commonalities between those weapons, and you would have some sort of cutoff. Right? Assault weapon can be whatever we define it as, but that's not important. What's important is what it's written as in the bill, like not the word assault weapon. It's such a dumb argument.
So here's
Like hoodie.
They
Let
list
me
the
what
types
is
of
a
weapons
tire?
in the 1994 bill. Like exactly what Jay's saying is what is done.
Like
So
what's a couch, Hoodie?
what?
What is a couch?
JD.
I don't know, a piece of furniture.
Okay, well, I could sit on a chair. That's a piece of furniture. Is that a couch?
It could be a love seat.
Okay, but is a love seat a couch?
No.
What about a coffee table? Is that a piece of furniture?
Absolutely.
Is that a couch? See the
no.
problem we have here, Hoodie? See, you're setting this impossible standard. What is an assault weapon when we're talking about a general term? Like, bills don't work that way. That's not how legislation works. If I was going to ban couches, I would have to specifically identify like what things I was going to ban. And somebody else might make a chair and they might call it a couch. And that couch wouldn't be banned because it's not a couch. It doesn't fit the definition, right? So that's why it's a silly argument. We would, any sort of assault weapon ban, we would define what we're banning. We wouldn't just say assault weapon. It's such a brain dead take by conservatives who are clutching to their guns. They're like, hey, we gotta keep these, but like, fuck the kids.
Jay, if we're going to have a real conversation about this subject, in my viewpoint, it's twofold. One is mental health, and two, properly storing these said pew-pews and having legislation on the storage of these things. Because if you look at
let's talk about that then. Let's go one by one there. What are Republicans advocating to do to improve the mental health of people in this country?
Well, that's the conversation that we need to have.
I know.
Jay.
I'm just wondering what are they advocating for?
Well, I think when you look at Trump and what he's looking to do with people that are houseless, that is a huge step in the right direction.
Wait, being unhoused is not a mental health issue.
Well, a lot of people.
No, it's not. It's a financial issue, and it can exacerbate mental health issues. But that's not a mental health issue.
But they're the only party that's talking about mental health issues.
What are you talking about? No, they're not. Our party is talking about access to mental health care. So your party's not going to do anything about mental health. Got it. Now, what about storage? What laws have Republicans put in place to make sure that weapons are properly stored?
Well, when you look at some of the unalivings that have arose here recently and the parents being liable.
And of course, I'm asking, of course, here, Hoodie, and I hate to cut you off, but it does seem like you're not going to answer my question again. All I simply want to know, Hoodie, is laws. So the next thing out of your mouth needs to be an example of a proposed bill or law from Republicans that does something about how people store weapons. So I don't want to hear about parents. I don't want to hear about kids. I don't want to hear about ideology. I just want you to point to a law or a proposed bill that would safeguard people's weapons from being used by others, like forcing them to lock them up.
Well, I know we have that in California.
Yeah, not a Republican bill, right? So Republicans are doing neither on both of those things. Now, on the left, we're advocating for mental health for everybody, but we're also advocating that until we can get this shit figured out, maybe we don't make it so easy for people to do mass shootings. Right? So we're advocating on our side real solutions. You guys aren't advocating any solutions. You're just crying, that's not fair, every time we come up with one.
But isn't it a crazy idea, Jay, to state that an inanimate object is at the root cause of somebody's action?
That's not what we're stating, actually. That's the problem. See, again, you guys have to straw man every position that we have. We do not blame the weapons for the problem. We have a problem. We have a problem in this country, and the weapons make it easier. Same reason, like there are rules for getting a driver's license. You have to have. There's vision requirements. There's age requirements. There's mental acuity requirements, and some people lose the right to operate a vehicle. Right.
Well, if you look, hold on. If you look, well, that's unconstitutional, but that's another subject.
No, it's not. You absolutely can take away somebody's right to drive a car. Now, does that mean we're blaming cars? No, of course not. See, you have to straw man every one of our positions.
I'm not straw manning anything.
Yes, you did. You said we think that the inanimate object is the problem. No, we don't. We think accessibility to a weapon by people who want to hurt other people is a way that we could keep more people protected. We don't want to give access to people who want to hurt other people. We don't want to give them access to a weapon. Like,
So,
to stop strawmanning our argument.
hold
Our
on,
argument
Jay.
is people. Our argument
Jay.
is people in this country want to hurt other people, and we need to help people get mental health, and we
Yeah,
need to make
that's-
sure that they don't have access to weapons to hurt people. We
Okay.
want both things. Your party doesn't want to do dick. You want us to stop talking about these school shootings. You want us to stop talking about these mass tragedies because it makes you feel uncomfortable, because your position is stupid. Your
No, I don't
position
have
is
a
simply
problem.
that, like, oh,
Jay,
well, that's just the way
you're
it
trying
is.
to
But I can
steamroll
look
me
like
now.
we can look to Australia.
You're
When
trying to
Australia
steam-
ban, when
you're trying to
Australia made a
steamroll
ban,
me,
guess
Jay.
what happened to mass shootings in Australia? We didn't
I know
have
this
any more.
is-
Gone.
Jay, I
Over.
know this is
Done
a
with.
tactic
Why are
in
we
your
the
debates.
only country,
You're
Hoodie?
steamrolling
Why are
me,
we the
and I
only
don't-
country? I'll mute you. Why are we the only country that has this problem, Hoodie? Explain that to me.
Because we are per capita the most armed society in the world, and we have a Second Amendment.
Yeah, that's what I said. So there's our argument. You guys think
Okay.
that this
Are
should
you
just
done
keep happening. You don't
steamrolling
want
me?
to do anything to fix it. You guys just want to let it keep happening because Second Amendment, so people are going to die. I disagree with you.
are you
I think
sti-
there's a lot of things we can do to stop people from dying. You just don't. You're cool with people dying because
you-
Second Amendment, right?
Can I go now, or are you
Maybe
finished
I might
trying
cut
to
you off. We'll
steamroll
see.
me?
I wasn't
So-
steamrolling you, Hoodie. I was
Yeah,
I was
I've been
telling my
studying
side. All right,
you.
now I'll mute you again. You weren't being steamrolled. You weren't allowed to cut me off during that time. That's all that happened right there, Hoodie. You were getting frustrated that you're getting dunked on. But I need you to explain to me real quick why it is that you don't think we should do anything about these mass tragedies.
Well, I think when we look at, and by the way, I have no problems talking about them. Your assertion that I and others do,
I said you don't want us to talk about them.
No, I want to talk about them because
then-
raises
let's talk about 'em.
awareness. Yeah, I have no problem talking about them. It seems like the pattern here is that we have a individual that is got some mental issues going on, and there's family members and there's people around them that know of said issues, but just kind of turn cheek because whatever the reason is, I don't know, but. It is ultimately the securing of said things, in my opinion, is at the root cause of why these parents were found guilty in a court of law because they did not prevent this person from getting
What
said.
parents? There's a lot of parents that never faced any consequences for their kid obtaining their weapon and using it for a mass tragedy. What are you talking about?
The parents that that got convicted 15 years, mother and father, for not advising of what their son was doing and his behavior, and the fact that they didn't secure the pew
Okay,
pews.
but you understand that there's these mass tragedies all the time, and the parents have faced no repercussions, despite the
Well-
fact that these were underage kids who used their parents' weapons. So now you're pointing to one specific instance, but again, we don't have good laws on this. I just don't get it. I honest to God, like, what would make why would not having access to an assault weapon, how would that hurt anybody? Who's being hurt by not having assault or access to an assault weapon?
But I think the conversation
Could you
needs
ask
to go-
could you answer the question, please?
Yeah, I am.
No, don't change it. Just answer
I'm
that.
not.
Who is going to be hurt? You need to name a group of people that's going to be hurt now, Hoodie.
I think rights will be infringed upon.
Who is going to be hurt, I said.
The pew pew owners,
How are they going to be hurt?
because their rights are being infringed upon.
Okay, so just you're saying they'll be hurt because so I'm saying if they lose the access to it, who's going to be hurt? And you're like, they're hurt because they lose access to it.
Okay,
But
so
you
let's
can't
talk
point to
about-
any
hold on.
part of what part of their life would get worse.
Let's talk
Would
about
they
the
be would they be
access.
less safe?
Let's talk about the access.
Would they be less safe?
We need to mandate.
Would they be
people-
less Hoodie, for love, dude, this is your last chance. You don't get to dictate how this conversation goes. You understand? We're having this conversation. You don't get to deviate. And you want to deviate right now because you don't have answers. So I just need you to answer the question. How would they be hurt? How would their life get worse, Hoodie?
Well, maybe that's a hobby of theirs. Maybe that's what they.
So we should
do
protect all
for
hobbies,
fun.
even if they're dangerous to other people?
How are they dangerous to
What
other
if I
people,
have a
Jay?
hobby of
You're
swinging a
joking.
machete around Walmart?
I don't know. Is that socially acceptable, Jay?
Not socially acceptable. I'm saying, like, what if that's my hobby? Should we protect that? What if,
Well, that's
I mean,
private
some people,
property.
some people are gonna die,
That's
but
private
like,
property,
it's
Jay.
my right, right?
Okay, so if you're going to go with a private a property
I'm not
argument,
okay. It's at a public park. We'll change it. It's at a public park.
as long as you're not threatening anyone.
No, I'm actually hitting people because my hobby is spinning around with a machete.
Well, you didn't say that before,
Yes, I did. You weren't listening.
Jay. I think that
Hooray.
it's quite interesting that you have to make this. This is your straw man right here, right now.
This isn't a straw man.
Yeah, it is.
No, because I'm not saying a straw man, Hoodie, is when you assert that somebody holds a position that they don't hold. I'm not asserting your position on this. I'm giving you a hypothetical and asking you your position. It's the exact opposite of a straw man. I'm
how does
begging
that
you.
have to do
I'm
with
begging
with
you
a
to
pizza
take.
owner
I am
that's
begging you.
responsible?
I am begging you to
Law-abiding
take. All right, Hoodie, I'll mute you
pizza
again.
owner.
I'm begging you to take a position, and you won't do it.
Well, I think there's a law on the books in reference to how long of a blade you can carry. So I think we have that one covered.
All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and mute you again. Just last chance. This is your last chance. Who is hurt? How does your life get worse? How are you less protected if you don't have access to an assault rifle?
What is an assault rifle, Jay?
And let's call it an AR-15 in this scenario.
I think that that's a violation of my rights, and therefore I'm damaged.
That's what I thought. Yeah, you can't explain it. You have like everything just goes back to I have the right to have it. I'm tired of this group telling me that they care about kids. I'm absolutely tired of it. Like they won't give kids mental health. They won't let kids go to school and speak to a teacher if they're having problems that their parents at home are causing. You can't do that. Like kids only have rights before they're born. That seems to be the only case here with Republicans. You guys don't care about kids.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been reading so many. I was looking at a lot of Ben Dowd eras, like sociology papers. Sorry, that's why I've been so quiet. It's just, and now I was just reading statistics, like about 8 in 10 U.S. unalivings in 2021. 20,958 out of 26,031, or 81%, involve a firearm. Like, this does not happen. I've lived in other countries. This has not happened in other places. Like, there's no doubt about it. If you care about children, right? If you care about your own children, them wondering every single day they go to school, is this going to be the day that something happens? Is this going to be the day? They're doing drills, preparing for something horrible. If you think that's good on someone's psyche, it is not. Kids are growing up apathetic, overly obsessed with weapons. It's not healthy. So, I mean, again, I agree with you. If you care about children, I mean, Republicans need to stop saying they care about children. They don't care about children, or we wouldn't be in this situation.
Agree. Dewey Duck. Hopefully, just a quick reminder: you come up if you're opposition, you can stay. But if not, we do just want opposition.
With a vengeance, and I'll tell you what.
Dewey.
What about the cops that were?
Dewey.
Oh,
Watching Trump speak.
I'm sorry, I didn't know you brought me up.
You're good. What's up?
Well, you already let him go, but hey.
Oh yeah, we're just taking opposition at this time, but I appreciate that, and kudos to you for stomaching that Trump rally. Chris, you're next. Maybe Chris, that wouldn't connect you for some reason. I don't know what happened there. If you'd like to come back into the box, you're welcome to do so. I see Band Pioneer. I don't think you're opposition. If you're not, would you mind dropping out? If you are, just write I'm opposition there in the comments, and we'll bring you up. Felice, I'm gonna bring up your backup again now. Did you get that video I sent you?
Yeah, I'm sure if you sent it, I have it.
I think I texted to you.
Oh, in our text. Oh, did you send in the group? Okay, yeah, I have it. Hold on.
Yeah.
I don't want to pull up.
Your backup's not loading for some reason.
It is on my end. Do you want me to?
Can you guys see Felice's backup?
It's fine on mine.
Like, do you have your screen? Oh, there it is. It just popped up.
Yeah.
We're good now. All right, so this is an ad that I'm trying to remember the name of the pack. If somebody remembers the name of the pack that made this, they made this.
It's Won't Pack Down.
Won't Pack Down. Thank you. This is the best political ad I've ever seen in my entire life.
Us MAGA Republicans banned abortion, but that's just the start.
That's just the start. If Trump gets elected, we want the government involved in all aspects of your sex life.
Way more involved. Way more involved.
When you have sexual intercourse, it should be illegal to use contraception. No pills, no condoms.
Your genitals are reserved for procreation. If you freeze 12 eggs, you should be required to have 12 babies, or else you're a serial killer. And I'm definitely not a serial killer.
Are you?
My son monitors my porn usage to make sure I'm not self-pleasuring.
Just like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. That's true, you can look it up.
Don't you think that's normal?
Yeah, I do. It's normal for your son to do that.
You should have a family member monitor your porn use too.
Because pleasuring yourself is very, very naughty.
I'm voting in November.
I'm voting in November.
We're all voting in November. Are you?
Because what happens in your bedroom is up to me.
Is up to me and my son. Also, mouth stuff is a sin.
Mouth stuff is a sin.
It's the best political ad I've ever seen. I was dying watching that.
Oh, that's what it is. It's the National Association of Black Journalists conference in Chicago. And then this is where Trump is speaking now. And then later he is he's in Pennsylvania for his rally. I think his rally is like going to be at night, basically, because he's speaking right now in Chicago.
Just a couple comments that came through. Diani said, what is happening in Venezuela? People are begging for help on the White House press briefing live, saying people are getting unalived. I have not checked on Venezuela this morning, so I'm probably. Have you seen any updates from Venezuela this morning?
I mean, they stole the election. Maduro lost an election and is remaining in power. I mean, this is not the first time it's happened. I think it's super blatant, and they're still trying to essentially force him to admit he didn't win and get out. Like, it's very much in flux. Yeah. But yeah, this is what authoritarian fascism looks like truly.
How mad is Trump that Maduro's taken his plan and using it for himself?
Exactly. It's so funny to listen to the Republicans condemn someone for not winning an election and then trying to remain in power. It's like, you got to play an ad, so I get to play a quick ad. Have you guys seen George?
Can I read one more comment? Real quick?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
So Brian says, just admit it, Hoodie. Children's lives are expendable as long as you get to enjoy your hobby, do better. And then for F the Niners. So I appreciate that. I've never had to say so many derogatory things about my favorite team, but I'll say it. I'll say damn near anything.
Guys, tap the screen. Keep tapping the screen, please. If you have not followed RTP Media News, our backup account, please follow it. We are trying to grow our following on our backup accounts as well. If you haven't followed my account, follow it. If you would like an invite to the Discord, message Jay or Jen, and please also follow our YouTube. It's RTP-Talks. We do so appreciate it. And again, this is my Venmo and Jay's Cash App. If you would like to send us a message to read out loud, we do rely on your tips and donations to keep our show going. This is my favorite campaign ad. George Conway started the Anti-Psychopath Pack. And Trump is freaking out. Like, the best part is Trump saw this. I probably have I think I took a screenshot of his True Social post. So Trump saw this ad and then loses his, starts, truthing about, I think he called George Conway, because this is Kellyanne Conway's ex.
Can we just point out, ever since his divorce, he looks great. He looks so much happier since those two split up. That was an impossible situation. I couldn't believe they stayed together as long as they are. I don't like Kellyanne Conway, but I do think it at least says that they were willing to try really, really hard for a while to make a situation that was never going to work. I kind of have some respect for them for that.
I think that's fair. I just want their daughter to be okay. That's the only person I care about in that situation. But yeah, I do like George Conway. He's a great political strategist. Anyways, he's created the Anti-Psychopath PAC, or Psycho PAC for short, and it is driving Trump insane. This is my favorite ad I've seen, even of Lincoln Project ads. Oh, and in the same truth, when he started attacking George Conway, he was also attacking Lincoln Project for their ads.
He's very upset.
Donald Trump has never, ever been right in the head. Donald Trump has never, ever been right in the head.
The late, great Hannibal Lecter.
He's a wonderful man.
An enormous, really an enormous.
And then they announced there was nobody's no.
Take a look at the oranges of the investigation.
Venezuela,
If you have a windmill anywhere near your house, they say the noise causes cancer.
I don't know what I said.
Look, they have voter ID. They have ID on everything. You buy a loaf of bread, you have ID. The first non-incumbent.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
We appreciate it very much, Tim Apple.
Injection inside or almost a cleaner.
That an illegal ad.
Learn more at psychopac.org. Anti-Psychopath PAC Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I mean, George Conway, and imagine they're playing this on Fox. So the reason Trump is freaking out, and he's also attacking Fox for allowing George Conway and Lincoln Project to book advertising space on Fox, because he's watching Fox to like watch his Laura Ingraham interview, and then this is what he's seeing and flipping out. I just find it hilarious. It is. Ron Filipkowski said it best. Oh, I think I do have it. Oh, here. This is Ron Filipkowski's post where he's like, just knowing that Trump watched this and then rage posted at Conway makes this so much better, which it is very true. And I think I have it. Yeah, here it is. Why is Fox News putting on crazy Kamala Harris rallies? Why do they allow the perverts at the failed and disgraced Lincoln Project to advertise on Fox News? Even Mr. Kellyanne Conway, a man so badly hurt and humiliated by his wife, she must have done some really nasty things to him because he is crazy, is advertising on Fox News. We have to win without Fox. I'm sorry, I find this meltdown hilarious.
Look, I don't know. Tomorrow, today, as soon as you get off this live, you are going to have a heyday. Trump is completely melting down at this Q&A. He's very angry. He's very angry that they're bringing up. Well, let me just play this. This is devastating. I'll play this clip. This is how things kicked off.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you?
They're laughing.
Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
Yeah, no accountability. Immediately just attack the people that ask you a fair question. Every part of her question was correct. All of those things happened, and his response to that is to be like, "You're fake news. I love black people." That's convincing. You're doing great, Donald.
And he did it again just to be, because part 2 of his previously recorded Laura Ingraham interview came out last night. And that's he did it again. Like, so she was asking him about I don't know if it was black people or black women. But he specifically goes back into, oh yeah, that's why I'm gonna deport all the immigrants because they're taking black women are the most educated people in this country, and Trump's response is to say, oh yeah, like I'm gonna give black women the jobs of undocumented, or imply that those are their jobs that are being stolen. It's so offensive. And that question is amazing, and that's what the media should be doing, is asking real questions and holding Donald Trump accountable. You see how surprised he is that he's being held accountable?
Yeah. Hey, I need you to meet a friend. This is a friend that we made last night. Jack, meet Felice. Felice is my co-host.
Hi,
she does this
Jack.
with me every morning.
Hey.
What's up, brother?
Nothing much. Mind if I get a moment to move to a place with less background noise?
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is the most polite MAGA person I've ever met in my whole life. This is Jack. Jack's 18. This is the first time. This will be the first election that he's voting in. Right now, he's currently leaning towards the man in his profile picture, that Donald Trump fella. A lot of people remember Jack from last night. It was a good way
I
to
could tell.
end things.
I don't know how to feel based on the comments. Like,
No, it was good. It was good. Jack is good faith. Jack wants to get answers. I don't know if he agreed with everything we said. Probably not. But I think Jack's remarkably good faith there. Chris Coley. Oh, sorry, I was reading a comment there. I don't know. Everybody in the comments is saying that this has gotten worse. The part that we showed of Trump's interview was like the least concerning part. I cannot
I've been
wait.
watching it. Yeah, I have.
Oh, is it horrendous?
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Do you want me to put it on? Yeah, people started in the comments like I don't know, a while ago. I think while you were talking to Hoodie, started saying like, "Oh, Trump's freaking out." So I turned it on one of my devices, and I was like, "Oh yeah," you could tell by Trump's body language. I could not believe. I thought he was gonna call some people like, "Oh, you're a nasty woman." That's what I was. Remember when he said that to Caitlin Collins? That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah. Every time he gets asked a tough question.
Imagine what he's gonna be like tonight at his Trump rally. He's gonna be unhinged.
All right.
Hey,
let me know if this is better.
Ah, sounds good.
All right.
So what's up, man?
Nothing much. How are you doing today?
It's been a fun day.
Nice. I don't have too much time. I gotta head to the gym in like 20-30 minutes. So
good for you.
Yeah. Let's get started.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Mostly policy.
Okay. Any specific ones?
Let's start out with gun control or pew control.
Sure.
What would you say Kamala's, that's how you say it, right? Kamala?
Yeah.
What would you say her policy on guns is? Because I'm not completely informed.
It seems like she supports an assault weapon ban similar to the one in '94.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna argue that it's the Second Amendment, because obviously that was made in 17 whatever, and I mean it's not like we have the same guns as back then. But the other thing I could argue is that assault rifles save more lives than they kill.
From like citizens?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like some examples of times that they're saving lives. Do you have some off the top of your head? I can't think of one. I'm sure there's examples.
I'm not sure of the examples. I just saw this. I saw this online.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I see a lot of stuff. I was a Republican not that long ago, and I didn't know of any stories then. But would you agree that they certainly make like mass violence? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I looked this up. Just on PolitiFact, it came up. Like a fact checking site. I guess who said this? Andy Biggs. Why am I not surprised?
That's our congressman.
We're
Jack.
both
We
from
don't
Arizona.
like him.
Yeah,
We don't like him
That's
very much.
his congressman. Well, mine's
right.
just as bad. I don't. Mine's just as bad. The U.S. Justice Department could. This is what the quote was from Andy Biggs. The U.S. Justice Department conservatively estimated that guns are used 1.5 million times per year to save lives. Okay, so that's not specifically about assault rifles, but this is the most relevant thing that I could find. No government data does not say that this is the fact check, that defensive gun use saves lives. If your time is short, yeah, our time is short. So here's the bullet points. A 1997 Justice Department report estimated that people used guns to protect themselves or their property 1.5 million times a year. The report was silent on whether those incidents saved any lives. The report authors argued that the 1.5 million represented a large overcount of defensive gun use, but there is debate over the best way to measure this. So it's just largely untrue.
It's like not, I wouldn't say untrue, I'd just say unverified is the correct terminology for this.
Yeah, but if you say it like it's
untrue,
like it is verified,
you have to prove it. Like you can't.
Right.
Yeah, you can't. You have to prove that it is true. You can't just say unverified. I could say, oh, I think that there's blue raccoons. It's just unverified. That's not the case. The burden is on me to show proof that there are in fact blue raccoons, or it's not true.
You have a good point. I'll admit that you have a good point.
You look
That
at
so
this,
rarely
like,
happens
I mean,
when talking to Meg.
that's what I'm telling you. Jack has no problem saying if a fact doesn't line up with him. But you look at the mass tragedies. Like, if you looked at the mass tragedies by year, we had an assault weapon ban from 94 to 2004, and then it ended. What do you think happened to like mass tragedies after that? Do you think they stayed relatively the same? They went down? They went up?
Well, they definitely went up, but the mental health crisis also went up. So I don't think that I mean, it could be a direct correlation, but only to a certain extent. And then
I don't know if there's evidence that the mental health crisis went up. I don't know if we would have evidence of that. I mean, I think people have struggled with mental health for a long time, but we're just getting better at it. We're better at identifying it. Like when I was a kid, even if I would have been diagnosed with ADHD, the treatment that other people were getting would not have really helped me. But treatment now and understanding of what ADHD is, like the treatment's really effective for me. Right? We've just gotten better, and we're better at identifying things. But I don't know if there's any data that supports that it was worse then or worse now.
I can understand your point. You know what? I'm gonna bring back something that you said yesterday.
Yeah.
Regarding abortions. You said that even though your opinion on them is like what you would think is the best, you would still choose something slightly more liberal towards the right because you don't want to take rights away from other people. I think that the same policy could apply to the assault rifle ban.
What do you mean?
Like maybe be a little bit more conservative with your
I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, so that's not exactly my position. My position is that like it's a rights issue, right? So my opinion should not strip away someone's rights that other people are granted. In the case of abortion, we're talking about bodily autonomy. Like if we're going to strip away those rights and say women can have their bodily autonomy stripped from them, but men can't, then I've got a problem with that. But an assault weapon ban, that would apply to everybody equally. So I don't see any injustice in that.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't necessarily think of that.
Yeah, I mean the main thing is this sucks. Like all my family, they're all gun owners. Like I'm also a gun owner. I don't have any assault style weapons. People in my family do, and I know that they'll be very upset if they lose that. But at what cost? They'll be upset that they don't get to play with it anymore, and we'll see less people losing their lives. I'm comfortable with that trade-off.
Here's another point regarding the assault rifle ban that I think is stated a lot, and there probably is an obvious solution that you're going to tell me because it's just been stated so many times, but I'm not sure of it. So tell me if I'm being stupid, but wouldn't criminals that want an assault rifle, wouldn't they figure out how to get one either way?
Yeah, I mean they already do, but that's true, that if somebody is desperate enough to get one, they'll get one. But we look back at these cases, most of these people weren't desperate to get one. Like, it was just at their house, right? Or they went out and they legally purchased one. It wasn't the case that, I mean, how are you going to find you think a 16-year-old kid is going to figure out a way, like if there's an assault weapon ban, to like go on the dark web, meet up with somebody and get an assault weapon? It's going to be much, much harder. So yeah, they'll still be available, but maybe we stop manufacturing them, right? Like, you want to look at the violence in Mexico and the amount of weapons they have. Where do you think they get all those weapons from?
I'd assume the cartel.
No, they get it from us, from the United States.
Well, yeah, the cartel gets them from America. Like, we can track the serial numbers. The cartels, like, imagine talking about a war on drugs and we need to take out the cartels, but then, you know, that's the party line of conservatives, but imagine they're also arming them. Like, would you arm your enemy in a war?
I understand your yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's a very either way, either side topic where there isn't necessarily like a correct answer to the assault rifle ban. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of it, but if it does get passed, I wouldn't be too upset. I'm not a gun owner. It's just like a hot topic, and I wanted to bring it up.
Well, I would just say, like, looking at the party platform in general from Republicans, if it's not an assault weapon ban, if that's not going to do with it, and I'm comfortable with this idea that we can come up with a different solution outside of the assault weapon ban, but like, what other plan are Republicans coming up with? Are they cool with universal health care where people get mental health taken care of? No, they're not cool with that. Are they cool with kids being able to go to their school counselor without that counselor being forced to report back to the parents? No, they're not cool with that. Right? Everything that Republicans say, they're like, oh, this isn't the solution, but their solution is more weapons. The problem is, we have statistics. The more weapons we have, the more violence we have. This idea of a good guy with a pew pew stops a bad guy with a pew pew is anecdotal. It happens from time to time, but largely, like, the violence has just gotten worse and worse and worse. Look at Uvalde. There were a lot of good guys with guns sitting around outside not doing anything.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one.
And look, and if an assault weapon ban can't get done, at least maybe vote for the party that wants to expand mental health. At least help these kids get some help.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least. But Republicans are literally saying, this is a problem, and we are literally not going to do anything about it. In fact, we're going to exacerbate the problem by making weapons more available. There was that guy that did the interview with Jon Stewart. What was his name? Do you remember, from Oklahoma? Remember his name? Felice?
Wait, are you talking about Ben Dada? Oh, no, he did his research. The guy from Oklahoma?
He did that, John, yeah, and you'll recognize it. But yeah, that's what he said. He's like, oh, well, we should just have more weapons in school. Everybody should be trained to use a weapon. Like, there's no evidence that any of that would work.
Are you talking about Mark Brnovich?
Oh, yeah, he was from Arizona.
Yeah, he was from Arizona.
That's
right. Mark Brnovich, our former attorney general.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I would just say, like, if you're looking for how you're going to vote, take what you would like to see happen, which I assume is that we would have less mass tragedies. And at the very least, you could say,
it's Nathan Dahm. The Oklahoma guy is Nathan Dahm.
I think it was Nathan Dahm. Brown hair.
Yeah,
beard.
I think it. Now that I see his face, yeah, he has a beard. Yeah, on guns and public safety, it is. It's Nathan Dahm, Oklahoma State Senator.
Jack, this is rare that I got something right. So enjoy it. I would just say, though, look at the policies. Who's actually going to try and do something to fix a problem? Who's really serious about protecting these kids? I think it's pretty clear that even though Democrats have not done near enough, at least there's people trying on that side.
I'm not a big fan of the like forcing the school counselors to get back to the parents, to like talk to the parents, but I don't like when I think that the school counselor should only have to go back to the parents when they're like almost prescribing them like a drug. I don't like, if I'm a parent, I don't want my son's
school counselors can't prescribe drugs. They can't do that.
Well, I mean, I heard stories of like school counselors getting kids like Adderall because they can't sit down in a school for 8 hours or whatever it is.
They could get
it's
them
silly.
to a doctor that could prescribe it, and I guess if a school counselor also was a doctor, that doctor could do it. But and Adderall's a controlled substance. I would imagine you have to have parental consent for a
No,
controlled
it has to be a
substance.
psychiatrist. Yeah, school counselors
Yeah.
aren't licensed, and school nurses. This is something MAGA says a lot, that like they're providing gender affirming care and or some sort of medication in schools, which you're not legally allowed to provide. I was a teacher. We could barely administer children's prescribed medications and handle it. Like it has to be locked up, let alone provide kids medication.
Hmm. I mean, like, I'm gonna do my research after this. I'm gonna do my research. Has there ever been like instances of school counselors like providing gender affirming care?
We got to be careful first with what gender affirming care is. Like, just me saying using your pronouns, like that's gender affirming care, right? Me growing a mustache, that can be gender affirming care. People telling me that I'm a man, that can be gender affirming care. Now, if you're talking about like school counselors prescribing things like puberty blockers, I've never heard of a single verifiable instance of that happening. I've never seen, and I've looked. So if I missed it, it's possible, but I've never heard of that. I don't even know how that would happen. I mean, you would, in that case, you would have like a specialist doctor for some reason, like moonlighting as a school counselor, and they had the ability to do that. But maybe you'll find an instance. I've never found an instance of that happening.
Huh. I'm glad that there isn't any instances of that happening. That gives me a lot of I don't know what to say. I'm just happy that that's not happening. That makes me feel more comfortable. To be honest, each topic that I go through, I understand your side more and more.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're able to what's the word for it? I'm glad that you're able to tell me the facts and put me in the right direction.
I appreciate that. Yeah, look, the truth is, like, Republicans weren't always this way, but this version of the Republican Party, almost everything they're telling you is a lie. And it's sad because, again, it wasn't always this way, but now it is. And there are crazy lies, like, and they infiltrate all parts of our society to the point where, like, some of the biggest influencers, podcasters, personalities believe this type of stuff. I mean, the amount of times Joe Rogan has told a story that was completely false and specifically the targeting like trans kids is amazing. Like, these stories just aren't true. My mom taught school in Springville, Utah, and they had this walkout because they said kids were furries. Kids were dressed as furries. They were giving them litter boxes. They were allowed to act like kittens the whole time. The teachers had to refer to them as cats. None of that was true. There was just a small group of kids that at recess and at lunch would wear like cat costumes, and they would pretend to be cats, which my daughter does all the time. This morning I went in to give my daughter a kiss, and she went ruff, 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 and she put her hands up and she wanted me to scratch her belly. She's 4. That's fine, right? I don't
they
think
made a South Park episode on that.
Maybe I haven't watched South Park in a while, but I think that's the thing you'll recognize when you hear these stories. Take the story that you heard, Google it, and then just put fact check at the end and see how many of these stories you're hearing are actually true, or if you can confirm them. I'm going to tell you, like, 95% of these stories you will not be able to confirm, or the actual story is different than what they're telling.
All right. I'm glad that you told me that, because apparently a lot of the things that I'm hearing are just lies.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
What else? What about the whole like gas thing? I hear that Kamala doesn't really want to get oil or what gas? I don't know. I think like coal or something, whatever makes gas. I hear that she didn't really want to.
She's been
fracking.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I was just gonna say she had positions in 2020 in the primary, which, right, Democratic primary is about positioning and how to beat, right? Joe Biden was the front runner. She was positioning herself as left of Joe Biden in 2020. I think she is fundamentally left, but like in the words of the Republican Party, Kamala Harris needs to own Joe Biden's record, right? She's been vice president for 3.5 years of an administration that's been fracking and producing a ton of natural gas and producing and drilling offshore and onshore more than we ever have before. So, I mean, she in 2020 took positions left of Joe Biden and said she wanted to ban fracking, which I was looking this up in a Washington Post article on these, and like 53% of the country at that time in 2020 wanted to ban fracking. So it was actually quite a moderate position at the time. I just think things have changed a lot, and I also think she's changed, right? Like, as far as I know, and nearest I can tell, she's promising to pretty much uphold a lot of what Joe Biden has done. Like, Jack, we've never talked, but I'm left of left. Like, I love different economic theories. I'm really into Marxism, socialism, things of those ideas. But what I understand is change happens in the middle, right? And it's really about compromise. And you can't do anything that's not bipartisan. And I think Kamala really understands that. Like AOC is a great example. She can be left of left and have all these ideas, but at the end of the day, we have to compromise with each other to get anything done. And so, I can hold views and say, this is what I think is best, but then on a realistic level, what kind of change can I affect? Those are two different things.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like I'm like almost in the middle. I don't know who to vote for at this point, because if you look at like the people that are far right, they're crazy. If you look at the people that are far left, they're also equally as crazy. And I'm not entirely sure like which to go for, given that I'm almost in the middle on every single one of the political arguments.
I would just say the Republican Party is mostly far right. I mean, the overwhelming majority of them are far right. The amount of people, if you're going to talk about like the far left, you're talking about maybe somebody like Antifa, but like those people those aren't Democrats, right? Those people also don't like Joe Biden. They also don't like Kamala Harris. They're actual communists. They want no government. They want to abolish government. They want to abolish currency. They want to abolish all that stuff. So like, yeah, they're on the far left, but it's not really part of our party. There's nobody in our party that holds elective office that is far left. But like most of the GOP is pretty far right.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you go on this app right now and search up debate, then I think the majority of people that are debating are very, very far left.
I don't know. I mean, I think Parker is probably the biggest account. He's probably right of me. He's right of Felice. He's pretty moderate for a Democrat. That's, I think, probably the biggest platform. He's close to, or it's close to. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, Jones's platform's pretty big. He's pretty far left. Mishi's really moderate. She's in the middle. I don't know. I think that there's more moderates that are big. Harry's the same way. Harry's pretty moderate.
I was on Parker's debate live, and he called me a MAGA cultist.
Oh, that was rude. I'll have a chat with Parker. That was rude.
I mean,
I do think MAGA's a cult,
of
though.
Left. It's a high control group. You're not allowed to think for yourself. If you went to everyone in MAGA and announced tomorrow, like, oh, I've changed my views, guys. Like, I've done some research and I've realized some things that we're all talking about aren't true, you will be thrown out. Like, that's a high control group, like, where you're not allowed to take different positions. There's only one position.
Yeah, I understand what you guys mean. I've actually got to go now. I'm glad I got you guys. I'll probably be back another day.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks a lot.
Yep, we'll see you, buddy.
All right, goodbye now.
Bye.
Bye, Jack. What is going on?
It's like talking to Ty, except for if Ty fixed himself, like if he was more rational. Toby asked, can we go over the NABJ tomorrow? Yeah, we'll cover that tomorrow.
Oh, for sure. Definitely we will. Absolutely.
Hoodie, I see you're still here. That's good news because Beige Rage just wants to say 49 years old and still this gullible, Hoodie. That's from Beige Rage there. And then did I cover up? If I see one more Niners comment, now I'm gonna get Niners comment. Bethany says assault weapons were grandfathered in, FYI. I'm not sure if she's talking about like the California law. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Bethany. Sorry. All right.
Yeah,
So I'll
well,
bring you back.
grandfathered in meaning people who had previously had them could keep them. Isn't that what grandfathered in means? I know they were in the assault weapons ban. It's not that like people didn't have to turn them in if they had previously bought them. And this has to do with a message. Kelsey messaged and asked me to play. I think because we were playing ads for, different political ads, this Midas Touch ad, which I'm pretty sure I have seen, but I can't remember. But this is a Midas Touch ad, and I think it's funny. I remembered it when I saw a little bit of it.
And my stupid people, when I wanted to refute it, they said, sir, don't dignify it with a rebuttal.
Have you been noticing peculiar behavior recently in someone you know?
Carried out by Ray.
Someone who mixes fiction and reality?
The late great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man.
Perhaps someone of advanced age you have known for years.
Did you just see Maduro in Venezuela? Well, it's unbelievable, Venezuela.
Of course, we all have our goofs. But consistently odd behavior can be a sign of frontotemporal dementia, a degenerative disease of the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain that dramatically impairs cognitive function. And there are some key signs to look out for, like slurring words.
Failing New York Times by an anonymous, really an ominous.
Struggling to find the correct words is another sign.
The Mueller report, I wish, covered the oranges of the investigation.
You may also notice someone veering into incoherent ideas, detached from reality.
You know what I do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time. I'm not getting near the shark.
Or an inability to complete simple sentences.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
Other notable symptoms include impaired motor function, such as a wavering limb, and decreased balance, often accompanied by a signature lean or arched stance. If someone you know is demonstrating several or all of these symptoms, they are seriously unwell. As a matter of safety, they must be relieved of critical responsibilities and disqualified from any position of authority. Remember, frontotemporal dementia is a degenerative disease. Cognitive function will never return and will only deteriorate further. Don't ignore the signs.
I think that is a great message. Yes. And someone said in the comments, yes, I did look up. I was reading an article, like a summary of what happened in Chicago. And yes, Trump did to a room full of black journalists say that Kabbalah suddenly turned black. Yes, he questioned Kabbalah's blackness to a room full of black people. Oh, Jesus Christ is asking. Jesus is asking who did this video.
Oh, hey,
this is a
Jesus.
Midas Touch. Hey Jesus, this is a Midas Touch video. So I just look up 1950 Midas Touch 1950s parody PSA and it comes up.
This is like the amount of racists that are being exposed.
I know, isn't it great?
I watched. I don't even know where to find Steven Crowder anymore. I think maybe exclusively on Rumble. But Majority Report, and you guys may want to check this out. They covered a segment that Steven Crowder did. I'm not joking when I say it's the most racist political show I've ever seen in my life. It's 20 minutes of just straight racism, and that's what's happening. But it's terrible to hear. I hate seeing Donald Trump say it. It pisses all of us off, but it's also hurting them, and that's why I'm like, in these moments as this is coming out and it's being exposed, the American people are turning away from that. Now, shame on you if you are here and you are still a Trump supporter and racism doesn't bother you. Shame on you for that. But America is listening, and America is making decisions. And more Americans are lining up with Vice President Harris. More and more Republicans are lining up with Vice President Harris. And you can go online all you want, and you can find somebody making a comment about how they used to be a Democrat and now they're a Republican. But you know what never happens? It's never a prominent figure that we know was a Democrat. It's always some anonymous account, right? It's never somebody that really was. Outside of what you got, Tulsi Gabbard? Is that the one? Maybe what's that other guy's name? Jimmy Dore. Two people that got paid and are just conspiracy theorists. Yeah. Keep talking, Donald Trump. If I was running his campaign, I'd shut it down. I'd say no more talking. It's only going to get worse. Let's see if we can win the election and not campaign until November. It's a problem.
They can't do it. They can't not be right. That's what we're seeing. We talked about last week. They had to have a meeting with the Republican Congress or House members, and Mike Johnson said, "Please, don't be racist or misogynist. Just attack Kamala Harris on policy." Have they managed to do that for 1 second? No, they can't do it. This is just also about Trump melting down. Saying this is in the same section. It's number 6. I just want to show you, this is yesterday. Trump melting down on Truth Social. He is losing his mind.
So people are saying that they just cut that event. They just pulled him off the stage. They were like, "Fuck it," and they pulled him off. That's amazing.
It looks like he completely lost his. And
He's doing
imagine,
great.
this is what I keep saying, you guys. Imagine what he's gonna do when he has a captive audience tonight. He's going to lose his mind, and it's good. This may be the craziest Trump rally of all time.
So Donald Trump spent all night and all day posting this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And he previously had posted things like this and this and this and this and that. Folks, this is not normal behavior. He's clearly panicking. He's clearly having a meltdown. As Hillary Clinton once said, if you can bait him with a tweet, imagine what Vladimir Putin can do to him. Imagine what our enemies can do to him. Or I will put it in the present tense. Imagine what they've done to him. Donald Trump continues to make these QAnon posts and just really weird and bizarre and deranged posts.
That's what he's doing, basically. In the middle of the night, he starts posting conspiracies about Kamala Harris that don't even make any sense. If you've ever been on True Social, there's a lot of people saying things that are so in left field, and he's literally re-truthing them as if they were true and being like, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I know. He's spreading QAnon theories at night, which I find just a sign of desperation, basically. People are saying that his campaign is trying to say that it was what are they trying to say, that it was audio issues and that's why he left the stage.
Is that what they said? I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Somebody asking who this speaker is. This is Ben Meiselas from the Midas Touch. So you can search Midas Touch on YouTube and find their channel.
Which is a great name because of their last name, Midas Touch, Meiselas. Can you just drop my backup? I want to quickly, since we don't have that much time left, I just want to go through some of these articles about our, if you're okay with that, about voter suppression, and just make sure everyone has them. There's some disturbing things going on. The first 4 articles in the outline, I put them like 3:30 in the morning in the Discord for anyone to do reading on them. But I think what's important, number 1, there is a Rolling Stone article that came out. Rachel Maddow briefly touched on it, but didn't really dig into it. I mean, this is about swing states and a company or a nonprofit called American Doom, who is tracking election deniers who've taken roles in county election processes in swing states. There's about 70 MAGA complete election deniers that they have tracked in swing states, who have positions. This is a problem in Arizona. The same people who have been indicted in the fake elector scheme, some of these people have positions in Maricopa County elections. And this article, which sorry, I don't believe I said the title. It's called "These Swing State Election Officials Are Pro-Trump Election Deniers." At least 70 pro-Trump conspiracists are election officials in key battleground counties, and they are poised to make a giant mess on election day. And it talks about, this is what Rachel Maddow said on her show. She was pointing out, she had all of these clips of every time Trump has said in the last like 6 months, "Oh, I don't need your votes." And it's because of this strategy. When you go through this article and you read it, it shows that the strategy is to have enough people installed in swing states that they refuse to certify the election. There are people who are going to try to do that in large counties, like where Phoenix is, Maricopa counties. But then what they already did, remember, they also have small counties that are completely controlled, whose election boards are controlled by MAGA election deniers. And their hope is in these swing states that if they can get enough of the small counties to refuse to certify the election, that they, that is the literal plan, to keep people from certifying the election.
And just so we're clear, that's the point, right? Even these are counties Trump's going to win, but if they don't certify, then they get to have that alternate slate of electors, right? That's the entire plan here. And it will be painfully obvious. I understand this plan. I get why they're doing it. I actually do trust that our judicial system will hold up to this. I don't think this will work. We should be very concerned about it. But for one thing we need to remember is the courts held up last time, and ever since then, all we've done is had a bunch of Biden judges put in place. So we've gotten more progressive as a country in the courts since then. As bad as our Supreme Court is, like outside of Alito and Thomas, nobody would allow this to happen. No, nobody would. So I'm not that concerned. I think it's a Hail Mary, and we should definitely do something about it. But I think it is a dumb plan, and I don't think it'll work. And it's equally as dumb as it was before. And Republicans have convinced themselves that what happened last time is just our plan wasn't quite good enough. No. It's because we can all see through it. Like when a bunch of red counties refuse to certify, and we know that those counties went for Trump, what's the excuse? They're all going to say that. What are they going to say? Oh, we know these other counties are cheating, so we won't certify. That's not going to hold up in court.
Well, and anyways, so that is true in certain places. I think, for instance, if you read this article, we have a better chance in Arizona, right? I think than in Georgia, where they're changing the election laws. Like they are changing the election laws, so there's nothing to hold up in court any longer, right? And they have a super majority, so they've actually changed the election laws to make it so they can challenge. The other thing that's really concerning in the outline, the next 3 articles, 2, 3, and 4, ABC News talks about specifically a Georgia website, which had everyone's it's the voter rolls, it's people's private information, and they're encouraging these MAGA election deniers to dispute people's ability to vote. Like
this is True the Vote again. Behind this, by the way.
Oh yeah, this is True. This is True the Vote's app. Which True the Vote, if you know, these are the people behind 2,000 or whatever. 2,000 mules. I always forget the number of mules. 2,000 mules, which they had to admit in federal court is a complete lie. There were no whistleblowers. The data is false. They have been completely exposed, but are still running an app with people's personal information and encouraging MAGA election deniers to randomly dispute people on the voting rolls. And that's Article 2, and I highly suggest people read it. Article 3 is very similar. It's a more detailed CNN article, and this is again about the same thing, about 500,000 records, one app, the group behind it, massive effort to clean voter rolls. And it gives specific instances, like like there's this halfway house that allows people to use it as an address, who are unhoused, so that they can vote. And like it's a lady giving specific examples, like, oh yeah, I would dispute this, and she sent in a dispute, and then thankfully they caught it, and they said, they said no, like this is legal, sorry. But there are examples in this article of people whose rights to vote have randomly been challenged. They're completely able to vote, but we talked about this before. In states like Georgia, they're counting on people not noticing. Then they have a 45-day freeze, I think it is, prior to the election, that you can't re-register, right? So if they keep this up, they will get to the point where they can disenfranchise enough people. And that's what's scary about 4. This is an article from the Ohio Capital Journal, and it shows that them cleaning the voter rolls in Ohio is doing what? Exactly what we know it does. Disproportionately targets voters of color, right? And that's where you would bring a voting rights lawsuit. That's what Mark Elias does. But that's also, I just want to be clear, this is what the Republicans want in Project 2025, to take away the racial boxes so that we can no longer tell if things like cleaning voter rolls is disproportionately affecting Black people in this country. So we then can't bring lawsuits. That's what's really scary.
Right. And look, again, all of this is bad. All of it is terrible. But I don't want to be Debbie Downer. Ohio is going to go Trump. And we should absolutely do something about what's happening in Ohio. We should absolutely do something about what's happening in Georgia. But those states likely aren't going to matter. Like, it was just looking at the polling, Georgia could. Ohio, that's not in play anyways. But even if Trump were to win Georgia, we're still fine based on polling that we look at now. So I do want to say this is a serious problem. We should be aware of it. We should be outspoken about it. But I don't want people to think that, like, we're just fucked and that the Republicans have figured this out. Like, that was my initial thought when I was reading that. I was like, oh God, they figured out how to steal the election. But the more I read, the more I realize, like, okay, there may be some areas of this country where this is going to be successful, but I don't see anywhere where it's going to be outcome determinative. So while we need to speak up, don't let this get you down. Don't let let this make you feel like you should just give up and it's a done deal. It certainly isn't. It is certainly not a done deal. It almost certainly won't affect the outcome of the election, but it will on a local level. And that's why we need to be vocal about it.
Yeah, and again, I didn't think I was being hyperbolic. I didn't say it was going to.
I was just commenting. I was responding to the comments. Yeah, so, not to you.
I wasn't trying to be hyperbolic. I don't think that the election is going to be stolen. That was not the point of what I'm saying. What I am saying, and what is important to note and understand and educate yourself, is that voter suppression, right? Why is there one party whose goal is to keep U.S. American citizens from voting, right? Just because you don't have like a physical address, necessarily your own house, that doesn't preclude you from having the right in America from your vote to be counted. When we have African Americans or Black people, brown people in this country being disproportionately affected by voter suppression, that's what we need to that's what we need to take note of. That's what we need to be concerned about and be able to speak to. When people talk about, everybody has an ID, right? We know it's disproportionately affecting brown and Black communities in the country, and we need to be conscious of that. But if you want to know the Democratic response to all this, my advice is to follow Democracy Docket. That's Mark Elias's company, Mark Elias's law group. If you want to do the subscription level, I mean, he holds lives and he will talk about the plans. Like, there's over 150, right? There were, I think, 61 lawsuits total when the Republicans tried to challenge the election results before. There's 150 lawsuits right now currently challenging the 2024 election results already that Mark Elias is fighting. Like, that's how it's already started, right? Like, there was only 60 total last time. There's 150 they're fighting now. And he does lives and we'll talk about each state, if there's anything you can do to help. Like, if you want to know, like, what is the plan, you know, we are fighting it. Like, people are aware of this. Like, it's not something that's just going unchecked. People are writing news articles and people don't know. In the first article, the Rolling Stone article, Mark Elias is quoted in it and is aware of what's going on, and he does great lives and talks about all this. So that would be my suggestion. If you want more information on the legal side of how they're fighting the voter suppression and the attempt to clean the voter rolls. It's called Democracy.
I was answering the same thing. Same mind. Democracy Docket and Mark Elias. John says
DOCKET, like a legal docket.
Thank you. John says, bang, bang, Niner gang. Thank you, John. It's about time we got some Niner love up here. Yehoy says, Rose may not have saved Jack, but I believe that you guys will. Money for his deconversion fund. Thank you, Yehoy. That's clever. Jen just sent me a message, and we've got some opposition I'll bring up, but George Conway tweeted this out like 20 minutes ago. He just said, I wish to personally express my sincerest gratitude to whomever it is on the Trump campaign who convinced Trump it was a good idea to have him appear before the NABJ. Whoever you are a true patriot and your country is in your debt. And I think that's beautiful.
It's the first non-stage, because remember, all we've done is shown evidence that these meetings have been staged, right? Before, when he allegedly talked, I can't remember the exact name. I think it was like the Black Conservative Caucus. The entire audience was seemingly not black. So this was the first time he was actually confronted by black journalists who asked him real questions. Like he staged a union rally. Trump's never been faced with real union people who want to ask him questions, and finally, Trump was asked some real questions by some real people.
Good day for your guy there, Dusty. How you feeling?
Took a blow today, right? I guess I was just gonna respond to Felice's argument about voting and wanting, like the Democrats want only Americans to vote. But so my question is on the Trump campaign website, one of the number 19 on his docket is
on Agenda 47. Is that what you're talking
yeah,
about?
it's like secure our elections by making voter identification like proof of citizenship required. But the only people that are promoting that are Republicans. So
it's because it's already required, bud. It's that law is already in place.
So why is it being pushed? That's my, I guess, why are they pushing for that? Just
to make you think that we're trying to bring immigrants in here and get people who are here illegally to vote. In every state, you have to provide identification to register to vote. In every single state, there's not a single state where you don't have to provide identification to register to vote.
Okay, so what about for like mail-in paper ballots? Like, is there?
You have to provide. Yeah, you have to have two forms of ID in most states to register to vote, and then you get to choose if it's like a mail-in ballot or not. And then there's signature verification on top of that. So in order for somebody to cheat mail-in voting, not only would they have to create like a fake name or whatever, they would also have to have fake identification. Then they would have to figure out a way to do the signature verification and get that the same. And they would have to change the addresses or steal ballots out of mailboxes. There's no way to do that on any large scale, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So thinking of what Felice just mentioned when she was showing you how like they're already planning to try and overthrow the election. They're already planning ways to not certify the election. Doesn't this kind of just add, like, it's like, oh, that makes sense. So they're trying to convince you that we're letting all these people vote illegally so that when they have these bullshit challenges, you guys will be like, well, oh, we should have had voter ID. It's not about voter ID. It's about positioning themselves in a way that when they lose in November, they're going to be able to complain that it was stolen. And maybe, hopefully for them, get some states to maybe throw out some votes like they did with George Bush.
Well, I will say that like one of the common arguments on the Trump side is that like Harris wasn't elected, right? She wasn't in the primary ballots, and
it's also not true.
She was on the primary ballot,
but she
and the
was
campaign
taken
finance.
Off, she was taken off of the primary ballot.
No,
So
that was in 2020. She ran.
She's
for the
vice
primary.
president. She's on the ballot with Joe Biden.
So then I learned
and the
difference.
campaign finance documents. She's on the both.
But she didn't have the most votes.
No, yes, she did.
The Harris
Dusty, let me help you.
Yeah,
well, okay, wait, no, sorry, Biden. So then I learned the difference between the Electoral College during the actual vote and then delegates, how you get assigned delegates. So the DNC, Biden had all of the delegates at the time. He was awarded enough delegates to be the person running for president. So now I learned about like there's
how many does she have? Does she have the same amount as he does?
Well, I think there. So what I learned is that
No,
the
right,
DNC.
the answer is no. The answer is no. He had more delegates than she did.
But they
Where did she? How did she get her delegates? Do you know?
So after the election, once someone gets those delegates, they are, I guess, free to pick someone. They're free to use that delegate in certain circumstances to appoint another person for their party.
No. The delegates. So this is how it works. So you would go. Let's say in your town, you would have a precinct. It's just your area, and you're a registered Republican in your precinct. You would go to a precinct meeting. And during that precinct meeting, people would either nominate somebody to be a delegate, or you can nominate yourself to be a delegate, at which point you're usually offered an opportunity to speak, tell people what you believe in, and then the people of your precinct vote on who they want their delegates to be, people that they believe will represent their vote. And they, with the understanding that the delegates are there and they get to make up their own decision, but their role is to make sure that they vote for the candidate that their precinct wants. Most of the time when you pick a delegate, you're going to pick party loyalists, people that are going to do the right thing, right?
Okay.
So these delegates, once Biden dropped out, they're all free agents. Anybody. Pete Buttigieg, what's her awful name? What's that lady that hates me? Remind me of her name again. What's her name? Marianne Williamson.
Is there only one?
Yeah, that's a fair
Marianne
question.
Williamson.
Fuck you for that, but that was fair. Marianne Williamson. Yeah, they all could have called these delegates and said, like, will you pledge your vote to me? And that's what Vice President Harris did. And these delegates made the decision to pledge themselves to her, which is their role. Not only is it their right, it's their obligation, right? So nothing has been stolen. Anybody could have stepped in. Anybody could have called those delegates and said, will you support me at the convention? It's just that nobody did. This is another lie you're being sold. We're very happy with Vice President Harris. We're very happy with her as the nominee.
So
and it's just Republicans are like, you guys are getting played. No, we're not.
So
if we wanted somebody else, we could have somebody else.
If he goes to jail, can we do the same thing? Right?
Well, you can do it. Your delegates, actually, the delegates aren't necessarily bound. Trump could go to Trump could have gone to convention and it could have been contested. But
now
it wasn't.
he's the guy.
See, this is where it gets confusing to me because there's bound and unbound delegates.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that translate to the people voting in the primary?
It just depends on your state, right? States have the ability to dictate what the role of the delegate is, whether they're bound or unbound. And that's within the party. Not state, like within the party. So your state party leadership makes those decisions.
Yeah, so this is the kind of information that makes people think like, okay, they're not following democracy because she didn't win in the primary. But how it really works is the delegates can appoint someone if the person
She did win in the primary, though. That's not true. She did. She was on the ticket.
I thought she wasn't on the ballot.
She was. She's the vice president, dude. She's on the
No, but
ticket
not for
with Joe
president,
Biden.
though.
No, but listen, that's the role. She was on the ballot. And all of us understanding that at any point Joe Biden could die and she would be the president. We're also voting for vice president.
Okay, yeah.
The Biden-Harris ticket in the primary is what we all
we're-
voted for. It
so
would,
we're
to me,
saying-
if we had skipped over her, right, and it ended up, let's say Gavin Newsom, just a name, right, then, Dusty, I'd be, like, I think a lot of Democrats would have felt like, hey, she was on the ticket. This is the person we voted for in the primary. If Joe can't go, it's Kamala. So in that case, I felt like, yeah, if it's someone else, then a bunch of Democrats would have said, I don't know about this. Like we would have had an open convention, which it would have been fair, but I would have been iffy to me. Kamala is the best thing we could do. That is the person who is the number two, who if something happened to Joe, it was all understood by us. She's our person.
So when does that officially have to take place, and how does it take place for her to be like, okay, we're now running against Trump officially?
At the convention. So once we have the DNC convention, the delegates from each state will have an opportunity to pledge their delegates to a certain nominee. If you watch the RNC convention, it's like the first thing they do. It'll be like, the delegates from the great state of Arizona pledge our delegates to Donald Trump.
Okay, I did see that. I did see them do that. Okay,
so that'll happen.
same thing.
That'll happen at the DNC. We haven't had the DNC convention yet. So once the delegates are pledged and there's a majority, then she becomes the nominee. But that's why she's not the nominee yet.
Well, and I just want to say, this is my understanding. So I was reading about it yesterday. They're not going to wait till convention. And someone correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they're going to do a virtual roll call. So
They decided they're going to do that. I'd heard
on
that
August
floated.
1st, and I just looked it up. This is from the today, updated on July 31st. The DNC's virtual roll call to nominate Kamala Harris will start August 1st. Here's how the vote will work. So it's everything we do at the convention, right? But the delegates are just going to vote like on a Zoom call, basically, kind of thing. But here's how it goes. Starting this Thursday, delegates in the Democratic primary will hold a virtual vote to select their new nominee. And as I understand it, and what I was listening to yesterday, this is because some states and stuff, they have to get their ballots ready and they really need to know. Like it's so Vice President, Vice President Kamala Harris will be running unopposed since no one wants it. That's the other thing, Dusty. No one wants it besides Kamala. Met the requirements to qualify. Here's more. So who gets to vote? The nearly 4,000 pledged delegates. Do Biden's delegates automatically go to Harris? The vast majority of party's delegates were pledged to President Biden before he dropped out and endorsed Harris. These delegates weren't automatically assigned to Harris, but within 48 hours of her campaign launch, an overwhelming majority of the delegates, the majority she needed, she called people and they pledged to her. So that's why we're considering her our candidate.
Okay. I mean, that seems legitimate to me. I mean, what else are you going to do if someone gets COVID and gets sick and can't run anymore? So
and it could, like you said, it could very well happen to Trump, right? You know, like they're old.
Yeah, it probably
guys.
will if he goes to jail. But so the last thing I will say is the one thing I do look at for presidents for like who I'd rather vote for is their funding source. And Kamala Harris is, I think, 74% from small contributors, like $6 million. Does anyone know if that's true?
I don't know if that percentage is true, but I know that from small contributors, she's doing very well.
2/3 is what I heard. Yeah, 2/3 of the
right.
money raised, was small, or was it first? It's small and it's first time people that had never donated. That this year, right? Like I'm not saying they've never donated to any campaign, but they didn't donate to Biden, basically.
Actually, this says under $200, small individual contributions make up 73.8% of her campaign funds.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing right now too. Yeah.
So
it's even higher now. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think this is actually a little old, but so to me, the person who gets the most contributions from or more contributions from individuals rather than large corporations is definitely someone that is worth considering, in my opinion, because I've talked about how large contributors, how they're going to serve their customers and their customers are their contributors. And I know that this is probably going to flip-flop because some large contributors are definitely going to give her money before the end of all this, but it's just nice to see a lot of money coming from individuals for once.
Well, they can't.
I mean,
you have to be. There are limits to what you can give, like to a candidate. You can donate that to PAC. Like most of the big corporate money goes to PACs, right?
Yeah,
because there's no limit. Yeah, there's no limit there. And then also a lot of these PACs are blind, so you don't get to see where that money's even coming from. So like there's going to be corporate money here, but I do agree with you. It shows two things. One, it shows that there is energy. And two, it shows that this story that Republicans are floating, that like we all got screwed and we should be upset and democracy was subverted, it's not true. Not only did the delegates pledge themselves to Vice President Harris, but it appears the constituents, those individual precincts, they're also pledging their money. I have yet, honest to God, I have yet to see a single Democrat come out and say democracy was subverted. I'm sure that person exists. But every person I've ever heard complain about this is a Republican. And I think the reason they're complaining is because they lost their best through line, that Joe Biden was old. And now they don't know what to do.
Yeah, now they're just pointing towards the border, or we are, I should say. So one other thing, I know that it's time's up, but so what do you guys think about Trump wanting to be the dominant energy producer in the world? Like, what do you have issue with him wanting us to produce more?
We are the dominant energy producer in the world. Or, I mean, we are doing more than we've
I think
ever done.
Iran is actually.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much oil Iran's. I'm not saying we are, but I'm saying we are drilling more now than we ever have, right? Like that's what I meant to say. We're not. It's not like under Trump we were producing more oil than we are now.
China actually is the biggest.
China
producer.
is now. But
Yeah,
Is that
because
electric?
you-
Is
I
that
think
count
Iran is
electric?
in the top 3.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You're talking. You said energy, right?
Yeah,
But
'cause
you're-
that's
but the-
electric, too.
But the numbers you're talking about are just oil, right? There's
Well,
other
I
ways
guess
to
he
create
says
energy and electricity.
producer. He doesn't. So there's like nuclear, dam, like water powered.
Yeah, we're
dams.
number 2, right? We're number 2 behind China, and a lot of that growth, even us becoming energy independent, that's because we expanded renewable energy, not because of just drilling. Like we won't be energy independent with oil. My biggest concern with Donald Trump and oil is like that's not the future. It's not. Like the future is renewable energy. Everybody knows that. Saudi Arabia knows that. China knows that. Russia knows that. Everybody knows that. And Donald Trump saying, I want to be like the big oil producer. Well, that's got a shelf life to it. It's not a good plan. It's not an investment into the future. It's backwards. I don't think it's a like sound economic idea to base our country around oil, to base our energy around oil. It's not the future.
Well, I think he's looking for like a temporary, like.
No, dude, he doesn't want. He
influx
doesn't
in
want
profit
renewable
to
energy.
help with our inflation, though.
Wait, but oil companies making more profit does not help inflation, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
In fact, it has actually caused inflation. These record profits
funny,
by
Dusty.
oil companies has caused some of the inflation.
I'm just trying to wrap my mind around just one topic that I can beat you guys on.
It's-
and
He's
just
just
not
It's
working.
protectionism,
He's
right?
just a fucking idiot, man. That's the thing. Like, this isn't about like me and Felice being smart. It's that guy's a fucking idiot. He's so
It's
stupid.
protectionism. Like he's trying to gather votes by saying his voting base, right? They know oil and gas, and they are very uncomfortable, right? He has made people think that Biden has banned gas powered cars and that soon no one will be able to buy them. That's not true. There's no ban on that. There's no electric vehicle mandate. And we learned that in the EP when Lauren Boebert tried to assault the EPA director about it.
But
It's
in
like, what
California,
are you
they are
talking about?
considering
There's
it,
no.
though.
Yeah, but it's not like, just so you know, gas and oil will be around for many, many years to come. It's just there is the future, and we need to switch to it. And what you're right about, Dusty, is that Trump is selling off his policy platform to corporations and to lobbyists, and that's what you're seeing, right? Whoever the billionaire is he talked to last, then he does a speech and you'll hear him parroting those things. All of a sudden you could tell he was talking to gas and oil people because he started shitting on electric vehicles, and all of a sudden Elon Musk said, oh, no more $45 billion a month. I don't like what I'm hearing, because he just talks to one group of lobbyists or one group of billionaires and he starts parroting that, like we saw it with crypto, and then his other billionaires he's courting are like, wait a minute, I thought you were going to support my electric vehicle subsidies. So yeah, he's getting paid for policy positions. He can't take them all. He can't make everyone happy. So the question is, like, where does the truth lie? Where do his real positions lie?
And we'll probably find out. Maybe.
Yeah, we probably won't. I think he's going to lose, and I hope we don't have to find out.
So he also talks about keeping the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Do you get?
Except for he was at the Bitcoin conference.
Yeah, I saw
saying
that
something
too.
else on Saturday.
Well, he just wants America to be more Bitcoin like dominant, not in terms of our dollar, but he wants us to be.
Yeah, he doesn't know. Let's just be honest. He doesn't know a goddamn thing about cryptocurrency. Like, if you hear him speak, but he has no clue. But look, the U.S. dollar will remain the world's currency reserve as long as the U.S. economy stays strong, right? That's why. The reason that our currency is the reserve is because everybody relies on the United States to stay in business, to stay afloat, right? And being energy independent wouldn't help, right? Like if we stopped, if we had this protectionism and we started just like we didn't import things anymore, we would stop being the world's currency reserve. His positions are just always at odds with themselves. And this is why I say, like, he's just dumb. He just actually is dumb. He doesn't understand any of this stuff. 7 years later, I don't know why Republicans still think this is an intelligent guy who understands economics in any real way. He doesn't. He's remarkably dumb.
I have one more example. So you guys probably saw, yesterday he basically, his plan was, okay, I'm going to fire one of the heads, like one of the real architects, one of the highest up people in Project 2025. Trump forced to resign to kind of seem like, oh, see, this is me distancing myself from Project 2025. But then Kevin Roberts, the actual president of Project 2025, immediately is tweeting, oh, Project 2025 isn't ending. It didn't end. We're just done with the policy writing portion and we're moving into the next phase, right? And there is a struggle for who will be staffing that phase. And I put a lot of this stuff in the outline. It's articles 5 through 8. And you can put these in the Discord if anyone wants more information about this. So Paul Dan's resigned, but this just goes on. They're just moving to the next phase of the 4 pillars. And what matters about Project 25 is not who is influencing it and who Trump's trying to say, see, I got rid of someone. It's that the words in Project 2025 mirror the words in Agenda 47, which mirror the words in the Republican policy platform. I don't care what you call it. They're the same words.
So what section do you have the most problem with for 2025?
So many things.
That's a really good question. Honestly, I don't know.
Well, because
the veteran stuff. I mean, like things that I think are so disturbing. Just all the cuts, billions of dollars they want to take from veterans. That's really scary. But for me, like, I'm pansexual, right? Like I'm attracted to men, women, pretty much the whole spectrum, however anyone identifies. I don't really care what kind of genitals people have. That's not how I determine if I'm attracted to someone.
To their minds. I've heard you say that.
Exactly, Dusty. That's so true. And so for me, part of the Project 2025 states that it's about bringing the nuclear family together. And what the nuclear family is a man, a woman, and children had naturally, right? Like it questions IVF, contraception, and adoption, right? It says that only the nuclear family can be a man and a woman. So for any couple, gay couples, they don't want them to be allowed to adopt children. That's disturbing. And the erasure of the LGBTQIA, any boxes to determine your gender, your sexuality, and your race, they want to erase, so that we can no longer tell if bills are disproportionately discriminating against a minority group. That's how they want to handle what they consider discrimination against white people, is by erasing everybody's race, sexuality, and gender, so that when minority groups are just disenfranchised, we can't collect the data. Those are the things that bother me the most.
So I'll have to read that and then come back up. But one thing that I think Harris needs to do is get her campaign website up and running. And she also needs to start talking about how she's going to address like taxes and inflation and all the things that the middle class are feeling squeezed about. Then I want to hear her talk about those things, and I haven't heard her talk about it yet. So
that's fair. I think it's coming. And we are out of time. I got to run. I have my daughter, but yeah, come back again.
All right. See you guys.
Bye,
I think
Dusty.
a lot of that
Have
stuff
a
will
good
be ready by the convention, I'd imagine. We do have to remember she just started a campaign, and most campaigns within 2 weeks don't have their entire agenda up. So it's not uncommon. Felice, any last words? Are there any comments we didn't cover?
Oh yes, I have it. Marcus, thank you for the gift, and it just has a gift emoji. Thank you for the donation. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. We almost got to 400,000 even after restarting the live. We really appreciated it. If you guys could please follow our YouTube if you're not following it, it is RTP-Talks. follow this backup account, RTP Media News, right now. If you're not following it, please follow it. If you would like a link to the Discord, send a message to Jen or Jay. What is there anything else I'm missing? No, I think we're good.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's it. Tomorrow,
And tomorrow
we'll
have those clips. Believe me,
Yeah.
I'm about to go make them right now. I can't wait to go watch Trump meltdown.
We'll be on this account tomorrow for the first hour, and then the ban will end, and then we'll switch accounts. It's clear this isn't going to get as much traction, so just make sure you're following this account. Tomorrow for the first hour we'll be here, and then we'll switch. Every weekday, Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 1 Pacific Standard Time, you can find us right here. And if you can't find us here and you miss it, then like Felice said, the replay's on YouTube, or you can watch us live on YouTube, either way. But thank you guys so much for dealing with the ban with us, getting those likes up. We were up over 1,000 viewers all day today. We appreciate it, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Lynn. Love you.